Oh, wait. That one. Greetings one and all to your weekly dose of 10 o'clock. This time it's accompanied by a cat purring in your ear. We have our regular... There it is. We have our regular co-host, MDRLOz, up in the top right-hand corner. And we have our lovely guest, Shadrad, with us. So, thank you very much for coming on the show.
What corner am I in?
You are in the bottom right, Loz is in... This is the problem with Discord. Like, typically, it should be Loz in the bottom right and the guest in the top right. But I can't position the order of who appears where in the webcams on Discord. So it's like, luckily, I'm always on the right of it, so I never appear in any of the other two's positions. But like, it always just seems to change who is in what position on the for the webcams. And I just don't know how to.
Well, it might be order of logging in.
It could be, in fact. We'll have to give this a go. So, Loz, you'll have to be extra early in the future. I was like, nah. I live in the top right-hand corner now. My home.
Mine now.
Right. So, okay, so that's introductions. So we're going to move on to the first thing, which is the emblems. So, Shad, further up in the group chat, you'll see 2 emblems.
I see them.
It is your choice. Use whatever criteria you wish and pick the winner for this week.
It is absolutely the Church of Damage.
Wow.
Because
Really?
that synthwave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, okay. My criteria, just to explain my criteria, in terms of design for a smaller image, Spooky, please stop. Sorry. For an image that's going to be shrank down like that, the moon and the shield is actually quite a good logo. It's a good logo in general. It's very readable. It's very clear. Church of Damage is probably harder to see, especially in game, but it looks fucking cool and rad. So I can't. There's no choice. I'm sorry. It's Church of Damage.
Okay then. I just thought
it's a meme of a meme, man. That's just amazing.
It's a meme of a meme of a meme of a meme.
Well, it's the Graphic trailer style, which is a meme of the 80s style of
synthwave. Yeah.
And then they got the Church of Damage. It's like a meme on a meme on a meme, man. Like a meme.
I mean, you can build. They like have generators for that. You can just fucking slap anything in there.
Yeah, Loz.
You can make one for the show.
Exactly. So that's why that was amazing.
The new logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, okay, cool. So that's it for that. We're now going to move on to dodo dusting. I'm not entirely sure why all that appeared. So, first thing, I've been told to tell people to like, comment, and subscribe, so I've now done that. The next thing is our first topic for the week was actually suggested to us by a fan of the show. If you actually have your own ideas of good topics from either Reddit or the forums, please come on, join on in the Discord. You can find a link in the description below. And feel free to actually leave a topic in the 10 o'clock channel where our lovely, I don't know, like, I want to say topic forger, Tobiah, goes through the actual topics and chooses, which ones to go in. So, feel free to do that. And then Loz is wearing an Anthem hat. Loz, please explain why.
Look, I have this hat, the Warframe hat, that I've been wearing for bloody years. But I remember 2 years ago, I got this. No, 3 years ago, I got this. I got to the second TennoCon. And then the third TennoCon, I'm like, I'll get a new hat for the next year. And then didn't sell any hats. And it's like, okay, maybe a blip of a year. The next year, I'll get another new hat. I'll buy another hat at TennoCon. And then the following year, I went to TennoCon, there was no hats. And this is a really painful hat to wear with this on top of it. So I'm like, I'm buying a new hat. I'm sick of wearing hats. So if you want, I can wear it like that.
No.
If you're
no, it
looks great.
Nobody really cares about Anthem, and these hats are probably going to go extinct anyway soon. You can't even get them from Numbskull, which makes them. They've removed the website. I was like, you know what? No one cares about Anthem. I'll just wear this cool hat because it's comfortable.
It's a cool hat.
It is a cool hat.
So D, Loz is going to stop wearing Warframe hats until you bring in new hats. In fact,
is that a new hat?
I might
they had the 5th anniversary hat.
Oh yeah, that's where's that?
Didn't you say that wasn't comfortable?
Yeah, if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. I have that right here. It's a flat cap.
Oh.
Lovely hat. Yep, lovely. Which means right there, digs right. In fact, there's a lump there. There is actually a lump.
It's probably
Right.
a seam.
I don't know if you actually see just that. You can see how it's got white there.
Yeah.
That's for it rubbing on my head. That is just there's a knot or a lump there. So it's a lovely hat. I was tempted to get it signed actually and take it this year. Maybe I'll do it next year.
What if you got a smaller head?
Could try that. Might be a good. I'll try that for next time. But no, for now we're just going to wear the Anthem hat, which isn't even competitor for Warframe. Ha, Joe. It's just a footnote. Poor Anthem. So yeah, but at least they make a very nice hat. I must say, this is a lovely hat. I must admit, it's a lovely hat. Yeah.
I may
We
even
want to get one like this, right? But with the focus schools.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know, I may even invest in a Destiny 2 hat until Warframe releases another Warframe hat.
I haven't seen Destiny hat. I mean, this hat actually. This hat is actually nice, and it's really hard to see. But there's actually the Grineer, Excalibur, and a Corpus head like patterns. Really, you can't even see it. It's just so black. Like really, there. It's like nice little patterning there. I just have that as a hat with the bloody keep the flat caps.
I mean, you could
Bend it.
post on the forums.
Ah. That would make more sense. I think that scowl indicates we're going to use our own platform to destroy them.
There is only one hat. It's a bit like this one that's on the shot, which is all white, and I don't think they're selling very well. So I think they're trying to sell off that stock before they get new hats in.
Isn't it the one I've got?
Like, no, it's the first year one.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah, pretty sure.
The one without the strap?
Without the strap?
Yours didn't have a strap, did it?
No. The first year hat.
Yeah, you have the first year hat. I don't.
That's not this one. Yeah, I know, but it's not that. This isn't the first year hat.
So you're talking about the one I have then?
No, your hat. That's yours. Is the
mine's the second hat, right? That came out. Your
hat was from the first TennoCon.
Yeah.
This was from the second TennoCon.
And then there was the one you have before that.
Yes,
right?
The one, the old Lotus symbol.
Yes, but it didn't have a strap on the back.
No, it had Warframe on the back.
Yeah. So is that the make of? Let's move on from hats. Okay.
No, I think this is a good returning topic that you should address pretty much every show.
Yeah, we need
a
hat.
We need a hat.
Solve this problem. Find us a new hat. Hell, I'm wearing a what's called 2 Point Hospital T-shirt right now because of no hat.
I'm gonna end up buying one of those hats. And I don't want to.
Oh yeah, that is the old one. Cool. Right, we're not buying that, Loz. We're not buying it. No.
I know.
No. Right. Okay. So moving on. So that's dojo dusting. We're onto the cards now.
Yay!
Right. Okay. So scrolling further up, there are the cards from last week. So the first question we asked was, would you like a stalker mode as a consumable? So this is tailing on from the whole Echoes of Umbra thing, so the temporary consumable stuff, which, you can only do a limited number of times. And we're like, the Echoes of Umbra that's been proposed is not something that's really viable as a temporary, keep players going sort of thing. But what if you could play as the Stalker as a temporary consumable thing? So, do something in the game, construct a special MacGuffin that allows you to do the Stalker mode, that basically it. So 66 people responded, 39% said no, 60% said yes. Where you guys stand on this?
Well, personally, I think that whether it's as a consumable or as a limited time, event every couple months, should be a limited option. I guess that's I would be in the yes category for this, just as an option. But I'd also like to hear why people said no.
Do we have any of those, Loz?
Not. I think Surreal said he would like it, but they didn't really try hard enough with the. Oh no, because he liked it because the idea that you wouldn't have to then waste mod slots was what prompted him to say yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's the same for me. It's like the peculiars are nice, but because you're sacrificing mod capacity or mod options for them, it's like that's a really hard choice to make.
Yeah.
And making it a consumable would be more interesting to me than I think as a mod. Yeah. especially if they added more.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten a single one. I've tried.
Wow.
They only added 2, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah, I really wanted the flower one, but never fucking drops.
I'll have a look. I might have a spare because I love ESO. So I'll double check for you. If not, we could just run it together. Right. So graph number 2. Right. Would you be interested in a peculiar consumable? So it's no longer a mod, it's a random item that you could use. Maybe it's like the auxiliary slots that you can get for your Warframes and things when Easter or Halloween comes around. So maybe something like that, which could have some of these peculiar things, because I've always wanted the game announcer Ordis. I want Ordis to go as like headshot, and shit like that. Come on, make it happen.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah. So, where are you guys with this? Yes, no? 64 people responded. 40% said no. 59% said yes.
I mean, I'm with probably the yes, but because I don't have any, I haven't had to really experience what it's like to, is it worth the joy of making people covered in flowers versus, having my weapons maxed out. So I guess I couldn't be an informed respondent on this survey.
Actually, considering I've been struggling to actually find any use with Warframe abilities, like the footage right now is me playing Harrow with the new deluxe skin, which I absolutely love, but at no point in time did I ever use any of his abilities. I'm actually tempted to just slap in the peculiar mods to actually limit
You're playing Harrow?
Yeah.
Spooky stuff.
And not using abilities?
Yeah. Everything dies too quickly.
Then play harder levels.
But that's not where the content is.
But you make the content, Drew.
I'd like to, but the new event that's like pseudo happening, yeah? So the episode 4 of the Nightwave hit Loz. I can see the shifty eyes, right?
Did it? How long did it yesterday? When did it hit? Today?
No, last night.
Yesterday.
Damn it, I didn't see it.
Spooky, stop it.
Right, and for everyone else's benefit, Spooky is Shad's cat.
Sorry, he's my cat.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. I love him very much, and he's messing with my shit.
Right. So the idea is that you have to go do infested invasion missions, right? Mm-hmm. You then get a zealot token after key,
basically.
That allows
it's a token, but it's key.
It's majiggers, and it allows you to actually go do a emissary mission. So it could be a survival or a defense. And it's one of those time-limited ones. So, like, if you're doing a survival, you're only in there for 10 minutes. If you're doing a defense, you're only in there for 10 minutes. It's like 10 waves.
Right.
And it just, it introduces 2 new infested units.
Thrasher?
Is it Leap Thrasher or Leaper Thrasher or something like that? I can't remember.
I know the Thrasher's in the new Disruption.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's in there as well. There's also an infested that when you kill it, turns into, basically can come back from its corpse.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Oh, I love it. So you kill it, and then it turns into this boil, and then it can come back from the boil. So you have to kill the boil in order to actually properly kill it. I actually really like it. It's just really nice.
I think that's amazing. Yeah. But that's a little horrifying.
Yeah, so I had a point to that. Why did I have a point to that? Oh yeah, so I had to do that content, which meant that there was no time to actually make interesting gameplay experience laws. So peculiar mods, that's why. Anyway, should we move to the next card? Loz is nodding.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so number 3. Okay, so number 3, how do you feel nullifiers currently fare? 68 people responded. 1% said that they're too hard. 7% said that they had no opinion. 11% said that they're too easy. And 79% said they are fine.
I'm happy with the responses on this poll because it means nullifiers are not really that much of an issue anymore.
I think
what
was what was the back? Sorry, the back of this topic. Was it someone saying that nullifiers are too hard or something? Was this the weird ability?
Was somebody asking for them to reduce? It was again when you enter them and it wipes all your things completely. I think they were asking for percentage reduction of the ability, so it doesn't instantly turn off, but it will reduce stacks and it will reduce amount that it'll absorb and the amount.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Yeah, I've just found it.
If you step in and kill the nullifier quickly, you don't get as much reduction. Just clear everything off.
Yeah,
I could see that just because it does waste a lot of energy if you've just used your ult and suddenly it's gone. But I don't find them particularly challenging.
Yeah, if anything, I like that the second highest one. I know it'd be slightly is they are too easy. So if anything, nullifiers are a little bit too easy.
I do disagree with one thing though, which is you've used the wrong version of fair.
Really?
Yeah, it should be FARE. Fair is a different word.
Damn it! I have been learned.
Copy editing, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm, correct me on this sort of stuff. I'm totally down for that. I don't like when I do spelling mistakes and things.
I'm not going to complain because at least this time the actual question was a sentence. Sometimes they're like sentences.
I'm sorry, I have a limited number of characters, Loz. Mr. 3 mile long question. Right. So, the next card. Right. Have you tried your hand at dojo decorating?
Oh, yes.
Okay. 68 people responded, 42% said no, 57% said yes. What is your experience?
What is wrong with 42% of respondents?
It's hell. Like,
it's not.
It is so difficult to align stuff, especially the corpus prefabs. When easy, and then it just inverts and goes upside down and starts spewing rainbows everywhere. That's what it feels like.
You'd still be in yes.
You have to turn off the mode where it sticks to the floor, and you just have it free floating, so it's not reacting to things around it, and then you can position it yourself.
I think it I'm pretty sure I've done this. There is a way of tweaking it to not be as much of a pain in the butt, but trying to get the corpus tiles to actually sit together as well, because they don't it's mostly the catwalks and things. They don't actually, you don't drag them by touching any piece of the catwalk. There's this little dot that is just completely indistinguishable unless you know it's there, that is used. It's like a tiny little square, and you drag it around by that. But the problem is that square does not mesh up to the edge of the damn catwalk, and as a result, you've got these oh cool, I now have an inch gap between the two pieces of the catwalk, and if I try to move it, it just implodes.
I mean, do you think your Warframe's going to fall through it?
No, but perfection.
Ugh. Okay, so you're building the wrong things.
No,
that's the issue. You're building the wrong things.
I've asked someone else to do it for me because I will just kill myself.
That's a fair suggestion, but you should be building things like giant robots and fish, fish underwater environments. I don't know what else you would use your dojo for.
Giant 2Bs from Nier Automata, clearly.
Yeah.
Right, so I think that's it. That was the last card, wasn't it? Yep, that was the last card from last week, and we're now going to move on to the Patreon questions.
Cool.
Loz is like, oh yeah, that's me.
Yep. Let me just somewhere here. There they are. So the first one is from Nick Evans. If at some point in the future you were to pass away, would you rather go like my old uncle, in your sleep warm, surrounded by your family, or would you rather be screaming in the car like the rest of his family? Drupal. Wow. Bit dark there, Nick Evans. Bit dark. I don't know where Xeno has allowed this.
I don't know why you didn't read it before you read it out loud.
I read the teleprompter, man. You give me the teleprompter.
Exactly. There you go. There's the teleprompter.
Is that why it's there?
I fear that I need to be like the mighty cling on in a spirit child that I am and die in battle at Pizza Hut at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Do they still have those?
Over here they do, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're really bad.
I mean, yeah, they've always been bad, but they're great.
No, these are just bad. Just flat out bad. They just taste awful. Unless you have no sense of taste.
That's been my experience with pizza in Europe, regardless.
Have you been to Italy?
Well,
no.
Okay, try Italy.
Hmm.
If you tell me those are bad, then
if you could have a fantasy title that people would use to address you formally in real life, what would it be?
A fantasy title.
Title, yes. Like Lord Hyde Magister.
Esteemed axe thrower. I don't throw any axes.
Master Dr. Loz.
No, Murder Dr. Loz.
I love Murder Dr. Loz.
Yep. I mean, we're not entirely sure whether or not he is a murder doctor, or a doctor that has murdered Loz, or can I interpret that another way?
Or is he the
murdered Dr. Loz?
Or is it an instruction? You need to murder Dr. Loz.
Yeah, we'll never know.
I think I'd prefer less of a title and more of an epithet, like Bog Hag.
I was not expecting that.
Interesting.
We should talk more often.
Surreal says, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, as long as we don't have stupid comments of how thermal and kinetic energy works, I don't really care. Loz, they came back.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it afterwards.
My response is, the rocket-powered fist! There we go.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I follow, but keep going.
Someone might get my reference. And
the egg.
Cool. The egg?
I'm gonna go with the chicken, because you had to have something lay the egg.
But it didn't have to be a chicken.
Yeah. Something could be a creature which lays eggs, which then develops while still keeping the attribute of ability to lay eggs, that then develops into a chicken. But you couldn't have a chicken evolve from a chicken to another creature also referred to as a chicken.
No.
First creature didn't lay eggs.
Hold on. Are you not saying that the thing that evolved into the chicken, like during its life? Are you trying to tell me that the X-Men's a lie?
It's not a fucking Pokemon, dude.
Are you trying to tell me that X-Men's a lie?
Nothing wrong with X-Men. Don't get me wrong. No, that's just they have a mutation.
Chicken
yeah,
came
first. They were born with the mutant power. It just didn't manifest until later time.
So it was born with the chicken power, and it didn't manifest until later in its life.
It's not a power; it's a lifestyle.
So it's chicken lifestyle then.
Chickens don't magically mutate in their adolescence and gain random spontaneous superpowers.
What if the superpower is to lay eggs?
When X-Men did that crossover with Spider-Man, and the X-Men were like, you've got like powers, but you're not really one of us and a mutant because you got yours because you were bitten by a spider. You're just a human with powers. We're mutants. You don't remember that?
Wow,
and
that's
kicked their asses.
That's really
OP.
Wait, what kind of prejudice is that? I'm not entirely sure. Like,
and it wasn't a prejudice, just to being like, you're not one of us. We're the
like
ones who are.
Yeah.
It was. I think probably discussion of privilege and oppressed classes. Like, we are oppressed because we're mutants. You're not because you're a human who just got some superpowers.
We are talking about the '90s cartoon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was also like,
and then kicked Wolverine's ass.
I can't do math, but I was a child. So I don't know if
too was a child. Nuances.
Nick Evans then says, sensibly this time, if you could design a single ability for Baoban's rework, what would it be?
Choo-choo. I'll leave that to your imagination.
Something that uses the ragdoll effect to great amusement. I don't like whether it just whether the bounce turns into something like really ridiculous. So I don't know if I've only made one kit gun, and I don't even think I made it. I think I bought it, and it does this thing that when you kill an enemy with a single shot, especially if you shoot their feet, they go flying. Like I've done it in the Plains of Eidolon, and they fucking go into the sky. It's incredible. So I'd like to see that effect used more often. So if their bounce pad, instead of just throwing, makes them jump around, I would like to see them just being flung all over corridors or off the map. I think that would be amazing.
I think I would like it that one of his the balls he has, his first ability that he can
balls.
Yeah, that he can change into different things. I think one thing I would like is you could use them. You could throw them at enemies, and one of the traits is that it can basically control that enemy. So sort of like, you assimilate the enemy to become part of, to fight for you, and maybe they have a shelf life, maybe they and they get like a damage boost and a health boost and things. Maybe it's just a case of you just keep doing it, and maybe the thing can spread. Maybe one enemy can infect 3 others, or however. I think I'd like something like that, where it's sort of technology to control the enemy. So basically like the Borg. Because I can't really think of an instance like that beyond Trinity, but she can only control one thing.
You mean Nyx?
I meant Nyx.
Well, doesn't Revenant have some like a thrall skill or something?
Oh, that thing's bad. That thing's painful.
I haven't built him, so I don't know.
I find it so also, now that we have that mod thing, right? Please feel free in ModLink. Please feel free to friend me in game and send me your builds to stuff that I don't know how the hell to play. I had that with the Harrow thing, and now I've got a build for Harrow, and I understand.
Good job.
Still didn't use any abilities.
Bad job.
Right, okay. Any other...
Oh, I would go with death grenades.
Oh, fuck you.
So you attach them to enemies, and when they die, they don't despawn. It would also stop them being used for Necros to thingy.
Desecrate.
Or you could desecrate this one. And then you could set up like a minefield of them, and when you push the button, right? Because it does, I don't know what the effect is when you throw one of these enemies. It probably makes it more like take damage or something, but it keeps the corpse there. And then when you use them, it links between all the different corpses you have, and then they all link with a zappy lightning to make like a field of enemies, and they zap each other.
I like the idea of putting things out on the field strategically to like make barriers to entry. I think that's an interesting idea, and it fits more with his theme.
The problem I have with that is like, oh god, who was the? It was a Warframe that had a rework just before Wisp came out, and like the whole it might have been Wukong. Who else had a rework before Wukong?
They usually get reworked right before they get a prime.
I don't think it was Limbo. There was another one that had just had a rework, and it was because all the abilities were stationary and things, and they were like, people don't like how stationary the abilities are. Make them more.
That was for Valban. They were talking about Valban.
Were they talking about that for Valban?
They were talking about Valban, and then they released Wisp.
Right.
Was the order of things. So we were like, why did you just give Wisp what you said was a bad point or Valban?
Yeah. And it was just like, so I'm not a fan of stationary abilities because you are mobile, right? There are very few instances where you are sat on the same point, which is either mobile defense, interception, or just regular defense, unless there's something else I'm forgetting.
Tobiah says, who is your favourite Nendroid?
They haven't made one that I really had to get. I'm still waiting on a Symmetra. I would really like a Symmetra. Otherwise, I guess maybe the Lena Inverse.
I don't know. I was literally just looking at them and I'm like, I don't think I could pick a favorite. That's really hard.
These are basically Funko Pops, but done correctly, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're also posable.
Yeah,
Done correctly.
It's done correctly.
Fair.
Instead of just, look at this block of plastic, which is devoid of anything interesting, where they've got the face, the head... See, I didn't even know what an Android was. So they've made the head big, so it's got the cute style, but then the head still has facial details, which are then exemplified by the big head, so they make them really adorable. And then posable, obviously, which is sensible, because then you can do things with them. Mm-hmm. Unlike Funko Pop. I am a dead robot clone. Love me. Yep.
What would a Funko Pop of a
when are we
Funko
gonna
Pop?
get? When are we gonna get a Lotus Nendroid?
Yes.
They do. So fun fact: they do surveys every so often for people who can vote, or not vote, but submit what Nendroids they'd like to see. Other fun fact: so the company that does the For Fans by Fans, or the For Fans by Fans company, believe is now in a partnership with, or was purchased by Good Smile, the company that makes the Nendroids.
Really?
Yep. So that's going to open up opportunities for the FanForge artists like myself to maybe expand what kind of merchandise we're able to design and create.
I can't breathe in anymore.
Right, good. No more breathing for you then. We'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool. Any other questions? Sorry.
Scarlet King, there's several. We look at the clock here. Scarlet Kingdom, who would win in a fight? ADN?
And?
Oh. Who would win in a fight, and who would you rather fight? 100 roller-sized Zanukas, or one Zanuka-sized roller?
So it was actually brought up in my chat that Zanuka was actually spelled with an E. So as in Zanuka, the content creator, not Zanuka, the quadruped harvester, I'm gonna steal your Warframe bits. So going with the actual quadruped, what was the option? 100. I think I'd go for 100 Zanuka-sized. Sorry, no, 100 roller-sized Zanukas, because I think the cute factor would just cripple me and I'd lose. And yeah.
Would you want to win the fight?
How could I? There's 100 cute little tiny Zanukas. It's just not possible. I just lose. I just feel like, oh, he's so loving me. Oh.
Makes sense.
I choose a Godzilla-sized roller.
Ignoring you.
I mean, it would be an interesting fight potentially. I'm actually more interested to know what size is the content creator Zanuka.
I could let's see if I can actually find out.
Right. Okay. Well, on that, we'll move on to the next thing, because we've still got two left to do, and still on this. We're half an hour in now. Nick Evans also says, if somebody gifted you an official Warframe-produced Ember statue, would you keep it?
No!
What? Why not?
I'm sorry, no. The trauma of 6 months of nothing but Ember still haunts me.
You fiend. It could be a cool pose statue. It'd be a good statue, man.
I'd give it to Loz.
I'd either buy my own or Rich would buy me one. I'd already have it by then. In fact, I'd probably be the one buying you one just to annoy you.
Wow, thanks.
Wow, thanks.
Feel the love.
Zachary Lastly says, how overjoyed are you that we finally get more Little Duck content?
That's me choking and dying, don't worry.
Why?
Because not every English person is Cockney.
No, and there's Cockney, and there's whatever Little Duck is trying to do. It's just painful.
It is so
It's
painful.
painful.
Oh,
The voice
I mean,
would be grating on the ears.
I think she's great.
No. No.
She has great lines, and as an American, I have no idea what actual British people sound like.
Not like
Regardless
that.
of the fact that you're talking to two of them right now.
Right, I have no idea what you sound like.
It's completely interchangeable. Like, you sound exactly the same.
It's the same. I mean, I don't know.
What is this little duck content, by the way?
Oh, she's the handler for the new
disruption missions.
Yep.
And she's got really good lines, and I think she's very funny.
Yeah, I'm not doing it either. Don't worry.
I think we should do it as a punishment, Xeno, somewhere.
That's right. I'll do it for you. It's fine.
We'll stream an hour of us going. Play the missions.
You just imagine for like charity, like, you know, it's like we're gonna play.
We'll save that for if we get space 24 hours of space next year. We'll save that as a punishment breakthrough goal thing. Yep. But that is the end of the Patreon questions. So we're going to move on now to the comments from last week quickly. And so I will go through some of them. So the first one from Anarchy Gaming. About the last card, this one's a bit long. Because it's dojo decorating. And I know that's any finished topics. This is there for you on it. The time I put into decorating my dojo must be around 60 to 80 hours. And this is no exaggeration. I'm very picky on how things are placed. I want everything to be clipped perfectly. This takes around 4 to 5 hours per room. With that said, ever since my dojo was won one of the dojo competitions.
Oh, congratulations.
I've already did numerous posts on how I would love dojo building in general to be fixed or improved. And topic 3 is around 80% of my problems with dojo building and decorating. But since Warframe runs on Flavor of the Month, it has to be plain broken or DE won't look at it. They have a lot on their plate. That's normally the problem. I think that you got to kind of time it right when you feed back to DE, and I think wait till Railjack's out, give it a month so they can get through all the major bugs and things, or maybe 2 months because it's probably gonna have a lot, and then start pitching it. You know, in that lull after the shine's worn off on that. That's the kind of before they moved on to their next big project. You've got to kind of aim it like that. But also, lastly, on the same thing to Xeno. If you didn't know about the 100 room cap, then you probably don't know there's actually more caps that sounds overkill and remove any kind of creativity. Besides total room count, there's energy capacity, reactors, which are limited by room cap, room cost, which is finite, and map boundaries. Some rooms refuse to be placed if it touches the dojo map boundary, so you can't make a whole dojo in a straight line from what I can find.
I do know about a lot of those. I just didn't know that there was like an actual cap on the number of rooms. Also, that mech thing that Shad's posted in the chat, LOZ. LOZ is in awe.
I love mechs so much.
Yeah, we had to delete it. I took a picture for posterity.
Why heresy?
Something happened with our dojo where we couldn't make any more rooms. We couldn't build like a barracks, and we couldn't do anything. And apparently, the only way to fix it was to delete the rooms in reverse order that they were made. And with the incoming dry dock, we had to kind of make a decision,
right,
whether or not this was a time to just toss everything and start over. And made the difficult decision to say goodbye to all my hard work and my aquarium setup in the second picture or third picture. And but I will rebuild it better.
Zen is 5'2".
5'2" size roller.
Pretty big.
Could be fun.
Like a giant beach ball, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't forget, I'm a Zephyr main.
Okay.
So I can have fun with that.
Or 100 roller-sized Zanukas.
Okay, that one I can't make. That's too hard, though. That would be really fun.
Yep.
Right, moving on. Majoga said a few comments to this, actually, Xeno. They got a response when trying to reply on the comments saying, "This emblem voting has concluded. Thank you for your votes. The winners will be announced soon." Was there some sort? And a lot of people saying it was broken.
When was this?
During the last week.
You know when? Do you know what day that they responded on? Oh,
look it up.
Damn it!
What happened?
I've left it off.
Yeah.
So I've only just found that, so it's on now.
There we go. Moving on. Shadrad Sen. I would like excess focus to be used as an expendable key to enter operator-only missions. Mandatory to unlock all nodes in a tree. The cost of entry can be moderate, and without warframes, the difficulty would be easier to adjust. I think there's some potential in that, because that's one of the problems with planning difficulty curves for things. DE doesn't know what equipment you're coming in with, and you could be coming in with the most perfectly pristine Riven, or you could be just walking in there with silver mods and no Riven at all. There's a lot of power difference there. So if they had special missions which were just linked to own operator only, it's quite easy for them to work out what your power cap will be and scale around that. I think that'd be quite interesting. They could even maybe do different focus school themed missions.
I've wanted operator only missions for a long time, to the point that me and my friend Farrell will actually do regular missions operator only, because it's really a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. You know?
To be honest, when they actually did the announcement for Nightwave Season 2 that there would be a mission that was dedicated to... You basically have to leave your Warframe in the starting room. I was actually really excited for that. I really wanted to see where that was going and things. But unfortunately, I think it was decided to be axed. Not because people complained, but the fact that there are so many people that do not have access to their operator, so they wouldn't be able to do that. Which which I just felt like give us a break, because you've also put in the Kuva Fortress one as well. You have to get to, you have to do the war within in order to get to access that. Yeah. So why can't we have the operator one as well?
Operator one. That's a good counterpoint there. I was going to say that simply that we are getting to the point that with a lot of these game systems they have in, I think it is really great that you have to get to the second dream before you unlock character creation, let's just say, and then that takes a long time. But then it is now becoming a restriction on what they can do with these features if they're going to go down this road, because it's a massive time and power investment to get to that point. But then how does a newer player catch up with that? So maybe we should be looking, maybe this will come into the new player experience, that they'll rework or readjust, maybe chop 10 or 20 hours off how long it takes to get there, so that then we can go, yes, now we can have operator missions.
There's that, but I also have the feeling that the Deviri paradox is going to shake up how operators are used yet again, at least in some sense of how and when we can use them, and that might affect the timeline of operator-only missions. Maybe they're thinking, if we do them right now, they'll be, people will complain about it because they can't get to it right now in this limited time event. And I think that might be the crux of it. It's the Kuva Fortress is always around. It's always there for them. But if you have a limited event like a Nightwave and people don't have their operators yet, and, they can't play often enough to unlock them very quickly, they're going to miss out completely. And that really isn't fair.
Moving on. Who's a Shintai? I can't remember what this was about, so hopefully Xeno remember. I do see Xeno's points, but perhaps an AI tweak would help. Both of them and for other factions. Make troops gather on these lead units, encouraging players to take them out first to weaken their entourage.
Nullifies.
I guess what I really want is more mid-boss type foes that actually force you to pause and adapt, as they require more effort than just shooting in the face repeatedly. And this last bit, P.S. Yes, tell her I feel fine. I can't remember what that was in response to.
Oh.
Let me know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, as for the mid-boss thing, the reason I picked this comment is, I feel nullifiers are actually a better mid-boss sort of style thing than Xmas units are, even though that's exactly what Xmas units were brought in to be. Do you feel that Xmas, because that's what Xmas units were originally supposed to feel like, do you feel they fulfill that role at all? Sort of like a tougher enemy that comes in and you have to deal different, adapt your play style to adjust to it? Or do you feel they're just more run-of-the-mill grunts you just have to shoot through?
I mean, Xmas units, I almost never notice that they're there.
Yeah.
I think at higher level missions, they do become more important. If they're draining your energy, if they're draining your life, if they're keeping other units healed, then yeah, they need to be taken out more quickly. But I feel that's more for like, you're doing an endless mission and it's getting harder and harder and the enemies are tougher and you really need to be more strategic.
Mm-hmm.
As far as normal gameplay, I think that the nullifiers do change the equation a little bit. Nox is someone who changes the equation. You really have to focus on him because he'll ruin your day.
Yeah, I feel the Nox is definitely, again, is another example of a better designed mob as a mid boss. Like when I see one turn up, I know that right, that's a big threat, and he won't just fall over. Whereas when like a fire Xmas turns up, it's more like, oh, quick, just get your melee weapon out for 2 seconds just to block the fire, and then that's it. It's like Or the freezing Xmas is like, oh, just a bubble, just treat it like a nullifier, step in and shoot the mob. Whereas the Nox, I feel, is definitely, it's like, oh, there's a Nox. You know when there's a Nox.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that's already been said.
He's doing other things, Cody.
No, I'm not.
Mr. Suko. I put this one in for a bit of an alternative view on things. Mr. Suko, so about Echoes of Umbra, which was removed. About Echoes of Umbra, don't want it, don't farm it. Same for Lua lenses. You can whine about it. Sorry, you can't whine about it just because you aren't creative enough to find a use. And then they actually gave a very long list of ways they would come up with builds that would use Echoes of Umbra in interesting ways, and so they were clearly quite interested in it. I don't get it, this parrot mindless complaining about Echoes. No one is playing Disruption anyway. I would be farming for Echoes right now instead of DCing? Deciding maybe if it's worth to get 15 cred on Nightwave, just because I'm bored and have no fissure that worth the time investment. There is a fair point. The point in that I thought was that, like, obviously a lot of people complained about the Echoes of Umbra that got removed and replaced with Lua lenses. And Lua lenses, by the way, they did just turn out to be higher percentages. Woo! But the Echoes of Umbra, if it was in the game, it would still give people opportunity to go get it if they wanted to get it. But a lot of the outcry was that it wasn't worth it. I'm hoping that DE will go away, come up with other things, bring it back, maybe more developed. And the reason why, though, I feel people complaining is DE were saying this is going to be our change of our style to give people a reason to keep doing redo content. And I think the outcry was acceptable because there's people saying, no, this isn't going to make the majority go do content like you think it is. Though I do appreciate that some people were probably looking forward to it and were going to make use of it. Echoes of Umbra will be coming back, though, as from my understanding. They've just been pushed back, so they will arrive eventually.
Yeah. Pretty much what Loz has said. The big crux of the argument is we don't care that Echoes of Umbra are what the end result of the product is. We care the fact of how it's picked up by the audience. So if people don't want to engage with it, meaning, like people don't like it because it's not that changing, there's not enough, it doesn't do any increase in damage per second, I don't care. That kind of mentality, people won't engage with it. DE won't develop it further. Look at Arcwing. I'm a huge advocate for Arcwing. I always say Arcwing is fine, but it doesn't mean DE put any time in it because the player base doesn't play it. I totally get where you're coming from, person with name, and Mr. Suko. Suko. You do have an extremely valid point, and I respect you for your opinion. However, my concern is not that I don't like it, it's the fact that I don't think the players will engage with it. And DE will go, they don't like temporary buffs. Sack it off. Loz and I have been advocate for temporary buffs for absolutely ages. I
think it's more, I guess from my perspective is like, would I grind and play a lot of content just to get a temporary that I can pick one of my 40-something Warframes to use it on and then it goes away. And I'm like, I don't feel like the time investment would be worth that. Now, if it's something like you could, play a lot of old content and grind and really work hard to get, a permanent buff on one of your 40-something Warframes, then now they can do the Umbra stuff, then yeah, I would probably do that because that's a lot of Warframes to put that on.
But I think there the temporary buff should be something that you don't directly, because they came in by themselves and hailed as this thing for you to go do. They were this primary thing. They need to be more of a secondary thing, so that when you are going to do another piece of content, grind a new frame, grind a weapon, level a gun, you get these on the side. Then think, I'll go use this temporary buff, or I've got a few of these, I'll use this temporary buff. But the problem is, because the way their release schedule and their release style, they got pushed to the forefront. And I think that's why they got so much attention. Whereas if they came in kind of behind other things, on the side, be like, oh, cool, I've got some of these, I can craft these now. And that's the problem, that they shouldn't be the forefront, but DE only releases content in one way. Look at our thing, instead of, look at this shiny thing. And you got this on the side. You know, that's how they're not the bee's knees, but they would be a good addition to the game.
I think that comes more down to the time frame in which they're able to present new content, because they're having to dole it out, every couple of weeks, basically. Anything they announce is going to get a lot of focus, which maybe it doesn't deserve quite as much in.
But that's at this time of the year, though, because we're in the content drought. Like, if this came a week after the release of the Jupiter Tileset rework, everyone would probably accept it. But because it's coming now, when it's like, okay, DE, what's next? No.
Yeah, but I mean, and I agree with that. I think it comes down to one of those issues where it's like they could either, consult marketing and decide, hey, when is a good time to release this thing we've already been working on? Or they could just be like, we've been developing it. Hey, it's done. Let's not, hold it behind other stuff because it would be better to release it later. Let's just give them what we have. And if they like it, great. If they don't, we'll work on it. I think it's just a less...
that would be a fine way of releasing it, but the way they were doing it, it was kind of like, right, we're going to put in new game content for you to play, and the reason we're going to try and get you to constantly, repeatedly play it with this as the reward. It was really shoved in people's faces. It's like, you're going to play the new game mission, and we want you to keep playing it, and here's what you can get. And everyone was like, no. Just could have been better marketing.
When we were introduced to them, because it was off an actual 10 o'clock topic, we had no idea what they were or anything. Loz actually had to step away from the episode for a few minutes to actually watch what the announcement was during prime time. And the thing that was suggested in the actual Reddit post was have it so that the umbral mods in your warframes or your weapons are also applied to your operator while the Echoes of Umbra is active. And I think that would certainly be something that would incentivize people to continue to farm them. But if it's just to utilize a warframe to walk around independently of everything else, but not use abilities, then it's like, well, just get a Spectre. They're cheap as chips. They do the same thing, but they actually use abilities.
Yeah, I think your points are right. I'm looking at it from a marketing standpoint, and knowing the way that DE has their marketing structured, is, marketing follows development, which for Warframe is the only way that this game is the way it is, the only way it works. Because if marketing had the say in the way things were to be developed, the way things were to be presented, this game would have died a very long time ago. Yeah. So I think in the case of something like this, I mean, yeah, I would say it was a misstep. They didn't predict the reaction very well. I don't think it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
I do think that you're right. They need to present it in a different context, and the way it was presented was just a little off-putting, and maybe from development standpoint, they didn't expect that because they thought it was really cool, and it is cool. It's just, as you say, timing.
Right, a few quick points to move on with. So, Zelia, I want to get through. Zelia Torius hardly... they were talking about Lua lenses, and we said they probably weren't that amazing. But obviously, they were pointing out that maybe we're not the intended player for the Lua focus lens. That's like saying the drop rates are irrelevant if you have 1 million Plat and can just buy everything. Not everyone has what you have. It's a fair point to make. However, the Riftwood did come back with the Riftwood and was suggesting how long till we get a universal lens level. So you can just have a lens that just counts for all focus trees.
What, similar to the universal medallions?
Similar to the universal former. Aura former.
Oh, Aura former, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's quite interesting. I mean, we're at now 3... you got basic lens, greater lens, Eidolon lens, Lua lens. Now, it is very useful for those still. But I'm still farming for focus, so I would be able to definitely make use of these new lenses. But are we going to get
more focus?
Sentient lens, Lotus lens, Ballast lens, Clem lens.
Clem lens.
I mean, like, what's next? It's just like I do feel that lenses are getting a bit silly now. It's just one thing after another and another and another.
Unless they're setting up for future focus grinds, in which we'll need more focus for other operator stuff that isn't just operator abilities.
If that's the case, I'm totally down for that, but I would strongly suggest to them, just cap us off at how much each focus school can have in reserve. That way they have a good starting point on, where to push numbers. But because,
unless they'll be able to spend it later.
No, but that's what I mean. So say like you can hold on to say 1 million in each school, right? Then you have an idea on where to actually put the starting prices for the other
stuff, the extra content.
The extra nodes. But because there is no limit, you have a HEMA problem where you've got, but on average, players have 500 mutagen samples each, right? But there are so many clans that had so few players playing that, it blew up in their face. So
there was actually not that many available.
Yeah.
So if you were to cap the amount of reserves you could have, it makes it so much easier for them to actually build towards the future. But without
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway. Any other points, Loz?
2 quick ones. One from Nick Evans. Dibs on being the voice of your new jingle. We having a new jingle? I don't remember that. I do want to weigh in on the nullifier issue, though. Why not, instead of deleting the ability it touches, the bubble instead nullifies the effects only? That's quite an interesting thing. So while you go into the bubble, your abilities are suppressed, but when you come out, they're activated again. I think that would be okay. It would just save people reducing cost. And I'll finish the last one just to finish up.
Actually, just to jump on that, can we have that for Arkwings as well, please? Guy?
Okay. Last thing is just quickly, Test 1049, Anzrugel pointed out in regards to Wild Rash's Gene Syndicate's cool logo picture, where you said Oberon should be under the Arbiters.
Yep.
Palladino has a Kavat lying next to her at Iron Wake. So that's why there's Kavats for
Fair enough.
Red Veil. There we go. That's it for that. Should we move on to topics of this week? Xeno. That is probably the longest to get to this point. Wow. Cool discussion, guys. We've been discussing up a storm.
So, topic 1. A complete rework of Boundary of Warframe. A 2013 topic. Right? And then topic 2 is Open World Void Fissures. That's the intro. God damn it. Topic 2, Open World Void Fissures. So going on to topic 1. This is quite a long topic, and I'll try and precede it down as much as possible. I mean, it's already been preceded down by our topic forger, Tobiah. So, right. Because the Masteries ranking system is largely useless, please remember, 2013, and should be a method of gauging player skill and progression, the contents of the mastery tests would be better as parts of a tutorial. Increasing rank should feel more rewarding and be coupled with a better sense of accomplishment, such as locking access to planets by mastery rank. Meaning that there is now a bar set that needs to be reached in order to progress, which in turn allows the developers to design content for the players of that mastery rank. Replacing the mod card system is a skill tree. Albeit a skill tree that actually works and is well designed. This would include our new standard ABC layouts, which would afford players to further customize and create builds for specific situations, allowing for quick swapping of play styles on the fly, and skill trees would be separated into 3 parts: systems, power, utility. So systems would have shields, armor, resistances, and health. Power would have power variation, duration, range, strength. Utility would have stamina. Well, obviously they got rid of stamina by this point. Movement.
Is that? It says in brackets, please no. I assume that's editorialized and added in by Tobiah.
I have no idea. There's only one way to find out, Loz.
On the original topic.
Yep. Movement, tech, energy. Compared to the locked-in tree that once was, this could be a lot simpler. Giving players the ability to gimp their effectiveness via poor design choices is just stupid. What this showcases is too much choice for the wrong reasons. Just because someone can doesn't mean they should, and because they can, they won't. Players will stick to mods that they know will be effective. What my skill tree does is eliminates bad choices. So what it comes down to is preference. People like to play Ember. Sorry, what? People like to play Ember. She was previously seen as a viable tank. Sure, people can still spec all shields, health, and armor, but the fun was the balance between high damage and defense via her powers. Having separate points for different trees means that you can make trade-offs for powers, but you can always enhance a change of type of utility you need. Allow players to sacrifice the power of Tesla grenades for an increase to the number of enemies that Bastille can trap and vice versa.
Excuse me.
What this accomplishes is everything the mod card system does and more. It creates true, viable creativity and means to measure progression. A player with a level 30 Excalibur and a mastery rank of 6 will have a measurable set of stats. The skill tree allows fluctuations of those stats, but never in a negative way due to the precepts. Players of a specific mastery rank will always have similar stats, meaning you can design challenging enemies and scenarios around player mastery rank. Warframe has several weapon types: pistol, shotguns, launchers, blah 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 blah. Certain mods created and still create problems. While the mechanism of certain mods remain, they appear as attachments relegated to certain slots as to avoid things like rainbow builds, as well as create strategies when choosing certain attachment combinations. Different weapon types will have different attachments. They then break it down into, I assume, different trees, along with like different sub specs within the trees.
No. The long list you got there.
Yeah.
That's the different sections that are present on their modular gun build system, where you've got the core, which is the receiver, basically.
Yeah.
Then an accessory slot is another one. Then you've got an under barrel slot, the magazine, and then the barrel. And so there'd be different things in. You take one thing in each slot, sort of thing.
So it'd still be like a mod system.
Yeah, it's a small system.
Right.
If you want to finish reading the last bit at the bottom, skip that list, and then I'll get to talking about it.
The attachment system creates an asymmetrical way guns can be customized, which better play into the new Damage 2.0 model. It places more emphasis on what you choose for any given scenario while still maintaining the power of the gun. While these should be visual attachments, that is indeed a lot of work. Just implementing the system and adding the visual attachments later would suffice. Due to the attachments being crafted items, it allows for more blueprints to be added to clan tech and the store. Encounter bosses or alerts could also serve as a method to obtain blueprints for attachments. There would need to be a balance as to avoid the overuse of RNG again. Tenno are masters of gun and blade. Right now, the stances are more useless because users don't care much about them. These should be customizable by the player, allowing for different strikes, more sweeping, and more invalid strikes, individual strikes. Being a specific mastery rank, your unranked Skarner has certain bonuses that will make leveling it easier because of the innate modifiers awarded through precepts. You are still able to mash the E key if you like. In fact, it makes doing so more effective for those who do not want to put the time into making and learning combos, as they can just stack basic damage strikes. Holy crap.
Well done, Xeno. There's actually a hell of a lot more in the original post. This is actually quite an old topic. This is the Great Zamboni's post from 2013 when they suggested this. And the whole, it's pretty interesting to look back on it, to be honest. It really is quite interesting. But the weapon loadout system they suggest there. Because Steve did respond to this sort of topic, he did make comments on it, and I think some of it was good and some of it was like no. People getting a bit of flack for some of it. But I would say that the weapon system they're suggesting was probably the impetus for DE to do the modular weapon system that we ended up with. I know it's working off of the mod system, which is not what this person intended, but you do get that thing in our modular, pistols. You can, you choose the firing type and the stats, and then you got your different loaders and your different components, so you can build your weapon as you choose. So that actually, this idea clearly did make it in some way into the game in that feature. And kick guns, kind of fun. So yeah, it does work. However, it's an archive topic now, and it's a lot of it's, I think, gone far beyond the point. Especially the talent tree stuff they have for the Warframes. We're not getting that with our mod system and then our focus system built on top of that. It was too late to restructure it like this. Yeah, this is from 2014? Sorry, 2013 topic that ended in 2014. And I think it's a bit too late to be doing that kind of changes the game. But as for talent trees, would I prefer talent trees or this sort of system now, looking back? So obviously we've got a hell of a lot more mods since these days, since this was put out. And though I feel that we're getting to the point of a bit of mod bloat, that I don't really see all the mods really having a point, and some of them I think we could do with a pass on the whole set of mods and a bit of balancing going on. I feel that we'd lose out if we went to a talent tree system now over the mods we have.
Yeah, as my perspective as like veteran player, but technically I'm not good at min-maxing or numbers or stuff. I was always terrible in that when I was raiding in WoW. Yeah. I would find and this also falls into the parallels to the whole MR gatekeeping thing, which is almost separate, but it comes down to play style. For me, my mod builds are not always that great, but where they fall off in terms of effectiveness in Warframe powers and weapons, I have to make up for in gameplay, which I think is fine. If say I'm not very good at sniping, because I'm not, and aiming all the time, I make up for it in just pure technical skill. In dodging stuff and moving around and being very fast. So I feel like this building a philosophy of powers or leveling up your weapons at Warframes based on a certain idea of how you should be playing this video game is a fundamental mistake. So if you make like a really more complicated, more customizable system with trees and with different sections of which things you can modify, I'm not going to touch it. I don't care. I'd rather just slap some things in that look like fun, and it makes me have to play harder to be as effective, but that's the way I prefer to play.
I fully agree. I kind of don't remember anymore because it's so long ago, but I do distinctly remember hating the talent trees of World of Warcraft because they just got so utterly ridiculous. And very
hard to change if you fucked up.
Yep. And one of the back then, so many games were bringing in systems like talent trees for no discernible reason other than, I want to say Skinner box techniques. They gave
no, they are not a Skinner box technique in any way. I know you use that term a lot,
but they gave people the perception that they were actually progressing into doing something.
That's not what a Skinner box does. A Skinner box is a random button that you will choose to push that randomly awards. You got 2 rats. One rat in a box where
it
you push
rewards
the button and it gets food. No, and another box where there's a button that you push, and sometimes it gives you food, and sometimes it doesn't. And the rat in the room where the button doesn't always give food, but randomly will mash the button. The rat where they learn the button always gives food, will just eat what they need. That's the Skinner box thing.
But the whole point is
this term, and it's too far. There's no random element to a talent tree. You have to have the random element for it to be a Skinner box.
No, I thought it was the payoff. You're
through random.
You're pushing. I don't think it has to be random because I watched that.
It does.
It does.
Fair enough.
It does. Yeah. Why these games implement the talent tree though is it is a very simple way to reward and structure progression. It is probably the simplest way of doing it in a game. That you do stuff, you level up, give point, add into tree. And then deeper tree equals cooler stuff. You can't spend things until you work down the tree. So you're always encouraged to you being led on by a carrot on a stick approach. You just have to do all the grinding as your stick. And the carrot is, but if I get to the bottom of the talent tree, or once I put another 20 points in this, I'll get to this cool ability or cool something.
But that also I think is affected by the type of gameplay that the game possesses. So in something like an MMO like World of Warcraft or even like single player RPGs, where you are, there's it's either turn based or it's otherwise just kind of simplified. I can say for a fact that your skill tree matters.
Yeah. In
World of Warcraft, if you're raiding, it matters a lot. And whereas and it matters in things like to a degree in Final Fantasy 14, what abilities you have access to for raids and for stuff. In Warframe, you have so many other factors that affect how effective you are, that your abilities don't always matter as much. Again, that's the only reason I can be a Zephyr main, and I was well since before her rework. It's because I can play in a way that takes advantage of her innate abilities and just the way I like to play video games, as opposed to being more effective, via her powers, which were, not big damage numbers, or my weapons that weren't super well modded, so they weren't doing a lot of damage, but I was able to complete missions because I would stay alive. I could get other people up. I could move very quickly. So,
and this is one of the big things that why wasn't I using any of my abilities as Harrow earlier? It's because there were alternative ways of making sure I was staying alive by killing everything else with my giant gun, and so you use the comparison of saying World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, it makes sense to have.
Final Fantasy 14 doesn't have a talent tree system.
No, but it has. I would say you are limited by what skills you can put on your skill bar, unless you want to be playing the keyboard on your keyboard.
But you can have 10 different skill bars.
I think that in and of itself is a problem, and one of the reasons I stopped playing. But
you're not. It's not. Unlike in WoW, where as you made a good point that the talent tree gives you the abilities and skills you unlocked, so that when you go into raid, that's what you're bringing. Whereas in Final Fantasy 14, every character will always be bringing of that class will always be bringing the same entire tool set.
But it's also picking classes.
Yeah, there's classes I know, but there's no. But while you're playing, you're not making sacrifices in the development of your character.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But likewise, going on to things like I'm trying to think of a single player game that story progression that has a leveling system that is utterly pointless. Think the new Spider-Man on the PS4, does that have a leveling system in it? It's just why?
I can think of older games that used it that you didn't really like. Final Fantasy X had the skill map.
Yeah.
And I would say that it didn't really matter as long as you just the skills themselves didn't matter, the power-ups mattered.
The sphere grid.
Yep, thank you for knowing that.
So, like, I think another thing is the latest Doom. This was one of my biggest bugbears, was the fact that all the abilities and everything was hidden behind like progression and stuff, and like, if you wanted to upgrade your weapon, or your suit, or whatever, you had to find certain challenges and complete the challenges, and otherwise you didn't get like to be full. It's like that wasn't the core of Doom. Doom was get gun, shoot shit, don't die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, so I certainly I don't think talent trees would have helped Warframe in any capacity. I think what we ended up with the mods is what the game needed.
And don't forget, we did get talent trees for the operators.
Yeah.
And you're not necessarily locked out of things so much as if you put everything, it's a lot slower and it's not as effective. So you should specialize, but you can play in an inefficient way if you want to. And I think that's, I feel like this idea that you shouldn't be allowed to play badly is not a good philosophy for design. Because people are going to play badly no matter what, I promise you. There is no way to idiot-proof something, and if playing with idiots is something you have a problem with, MMOs probably aren't for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, there is a market for content creators to make videos telling you how to build your warframes, how to build your weapons, and
that's great. I utilize them because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, you know, so moving on to other aspects of this as the time has gone on. One of the key points at the beginning was gating progression through the star chart via your account's level, your mastery rank. Do you feel that the game would benefit from something like that, or would it be a detriment?
I get the reason why they would want that, and I feel their frustration when you're like when they added in the Eidolon hunts, and you'd have people coming in MR2 because they were able to get into the plains of Eidolon, able to stay after dark.
Yeah.
Which was very annoying because you have a limited number of slots in a Warframe party, and if you don't have everyone able to carry their weight in the early days of Eidolon hunting, it was really a mess. That said, again, I think that MR ranking is not the way to gatekeep because it's almost arbitrary, because it's just about how many Warframes and weapons you've acquired and, played enough to level, which is not an indicator of you having learned anything about the video game or being able to play it well.
It would also encourage people who spend more to be able to access things quicker because they can always be buying another gun to level, whereas players who are working on building their own weapons in game for free, it's going to take longer for them to acquire more.
So,
though I can say the good point, one good point as well, is that I can appreciate that it would at least bring some structure to the solar system. And I think that might be one of the things the new player experience redo that they're trying to do, hopefully at some point, is trying to address, because it's really nice. So it's a nice solar system. It is quite nice, very shiny. But I do appreciate that.
What accent was that?
Very shiny. I don't know.
That was a bit
From
Yorkshire.
Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
I don't know.
Oh, I feel it's a bit more north.
A bit north, eh?
North, eh?
Oh, I know. Back in my day, we didn't have an accent like that. No, we walked 10 miles in snow with newspaper for shoes. Down
Oh,
it's
a bit further south than that.
A bit further south. It's not South Somerset.
It could be Somerset.
Not Somerset accent. No.
Anyway,
I'm
sorry.
terrified. This is amazing.
This is the multitude of different accents the bloody British have, not just fecking Cockney.
yeah, bad Cockney.
Bad Cockney.
But that's North American tradition. Mary Poppins.
Like how there's a multitude of different accents across America, there is also a multitude of accents across Britain.
I would love if
Are you saying that it's more than a New York accent?
Oh my god.
Are you saying there's more than one accent in America? What are you saying that for? You think we're some country of immigrants and people who live in different places and live different ways? What the fuck are you talking about?
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
But okay.
Warframe. What we're talking
yes,
about.
Warframe.
Sorry about that.
So I think all three of us agree that having some form of gating. I mean, my desire for gating is to sort of, I would say, railroad for longer the new player experience, because people get it fresh out of Vor's Prize and they're like, now what? Oh, what's that? What's that thing? It's Cetus. Oh, I could go to Cetus. Oh, it's a nice town. Oh, that's nice. And they end up on the planes and they're like, oh, this is really cool. Now what? And they're stuck on the planes because the hand has been let go. The training wheels have been taken off. Now they're going to stick with the hand being let go way too early, right? They've not been drawn to other planets. Their core objectives have disappeared far too quickly.
I agree, but I also think it should be something that they know. Like, the suggested way of playing is to play through this, railroaded, introducing little things at a time, slowly, but giving them the option to jump off if they decided, I don't want to wait, or all my friends are doing all this other stuff, or I want to learn it the hard way. And then being able to jump back on if you were like, that's too much.
Yeah, and like I've introduced some players to Warframe who, they end up quitting because it was not. They like the single player experience where they have an end, right? There is an end in sight. Warframe does not have that in any capacity. Because after you do the second dream, there's the war within. After you do the war within, there's the sacrifice. After you do the sacrifice, there's the new war. But we haven't had that yet. But regardless of that, when players get this whole your hand has been let go feeling, I've had to show so many of my friends, this is how you play Warframe. This is what you look for in the game. Do not look for an objective. Just enjoy the combat, enjoy the gameplay and things like that. Don't seek out something that's not there.
It's really, I would actually love to have like a whole topic just about the experience of introducing people to Warframe and what has worked and what has gone horribly wrong. Because I've had varied experiences and I've heard a lot of reasons why people tried the game and didn't like it, which I think are very interesting. I guess I do go back to the point that that Steve made on a dev stream a while ago, which was just looking at the sheer amount of data about new players and what, whether they stay if the game is presented in an easier way or whether they see it and just fuck off. And that they found that it didn't really change based on the introduction.
Now, to me, I agree with everything that shows that what they've tried hasn't worked or made much of a difference. But that doesn't mean that the next idea won't do better.
No, I agree. They actually should keep trying.
Yeah.
But I also think that to a degree, the payoff from a business standpoint isn't going to be worth it. And I also think, I don't know, this has been true for most people I talk to, but do you find, like, as a Warframe player, I find one of the most rewarding experiences is to take someone in under my wing who's like, what the fuck is going on? And find a way to show them things and really bring them into the fold in a more personal, community-based way. And maybe that's not the, something they tried to design for, but I think it's a side effect that kind of works.
I certainly, I enjoy experiencing Warframe from their new eyes, right? Recently, Loz and I played a lot of Remnant because it was the fresh eye experience. I don't know, maybe it's because we've been staring at Warframe for too long, our eyes have glazed over and we should probably, blink every once in a while. But it is nice to, as you say, get that fresh-eyed experience of players just going, oh wow, what does this do? You show them being able to bullet jump, and they're like, oh my god, I can do this. I've never had such freedom of movement. And yeah,
you're right. But I've also had the experience where if you're you can easily overwhelm someone.
Yep. By
just showing off all the cool stuff, and they're like, okay, but how do I shoot a guy? Because they're all dead when you walk into the room.
Yep.
And so people can be easily turned off who would probably enjoy the game if they were introduced to it in a slower way.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me back to the point of bad Warframe builds. The way I found most effective was to just make a pocket healer character with a low ranking weapon I barely use, and just take all the mods off and be, really ineffective except for keeping someone alive, and just let them lead.
Yeah, I used to do something similar to that. Something quite similar. Very good way of doing it. You don't want to just dominate the game.
So one of the big things with Destiny 2 is that a level 20 player can kill an enemy at the same rate as a level 13 player. I am talking from personal experience. Same enemy, the numbers showed differently for both players, but the rate in which the enemy was killed was exactly the same. Should there be a way within Warframe for you to voluntarily cap yourself so that you are not, effectively as Ember, walk into a room and everything's already dead? Should you be able to play with your friends, not worry about the equipment you're taking, because it is scaled down to what they can do?
So they did that in Final Fantasy XIV.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it was not very effective in letting people play with their friends, because it took away a lot of your abilities that were fun, and also determined your play style. I think that just lessening... I mean, you can do that by just, like I said, taking off all your mods. You can already do that. So it doesn't need to be like a specific system. I don't know. I don't think it needs to be formalized in such a way when you can just take off your mods and do the same thing.
Loz?
I thought it went quite well for Final Fantasy XIV, especially for dungeons. It does take takes your character back down to, let's say, if you are a max level character and you're playing a level 15 dungeon, it puts you as a level 15 character. And yes, so you had all these nice abilities. It's like, no, you're back to just 2 buttons. But I can imagine it's a bit frustrating. But at the same time, it's nice to go back. Though I can see it being a bit limited if you're used to, I'm going to explode the universe with my spells. No,
I would say that it wasn't that part bothered me. What bothered me was that the idea was that your veteran players could go play with new people.
Yeah.
And, wouldn't kill anything. What I found was that new players wouldn't go back, or old players wouldn't go back to play with new people. One of the reasons I stopped playing was because everyone was too busy raiding high-level content and didn't have the time to do, lower dungeons with me or anything. So I was like, yeah, that's not fun. Bye.
That's not fun. I think that's more a person problem than the feature being the problem. But
yeah, it's a player culture rather than a system.
Yeah. And I would say the player culture in Warframe is a lot more open, and people are willing to do any content with any people just for the fun of it.
It is fun.
And I also like doing that, taking all mods off, because that's kind of freeing. It's kind of like everything's a bit scarier. Still not as scary. I still want that scariness back of the original Warframe.
It's like naturism, but not illegal.
Right, shall we move on to the replies of this topic? Because this topic, it's covered talent trees, which I think we all agree wouldn't work for Warframe, the modular gun system, which I think the kit gun has pretty much eaten all of that concept anyway in a very good way, and then the last thing is about the mastery rank scaling of the system. I think at this point it's not really needed, and that it's a more fundamental thing to the progression to the solar system, which should be reworked with the new player experience.
Last thing.
Than actually with this.
Effectively, the melee combat system, which was towards the end of what they were talking about.
Oh, well, we're getting 3.0 at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Are we getting 3.0 at some point?
Eventually!
Maybe.
They did some of it, was it, towards the end of last year, and then nothing.
No, we got the directional ground slams and the change in switching from melee to guns.
Was that this year?
I think so. Pretty recent.
Must have been at the beginning of the year. I thought it was last year.
I thought it was like the end of last year, but I can't.
Was it the end of last?
Blur into one.
Yeah, this year has been. Time is a government conspiracy, so I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not entirely sure when that happened, but it was a while ago, and we've not heard any news on what's happening towards that. I mean, heck, they might actually continue Melee 3.0 after the new player experience.
Well, we have to start working on Melee 4.0, but before that, we're going to get Melee 2.999999999.
I thought that's what we were on.
No, we're on
2.999.
Oh,
or is it
okay.
9.7?
To the 7. Okay, got it.
We'll never
I go through replies to the topic.
Let's go for it.
So I'm not sure how these replies are going to work because a lot of them are old, and some people, I know there's a lot of people who like this topic, but then later on, people thought about it again. So here we go. I like the idea of the sections with each one being different for different theme mods on the Warframe. Like you said, this will allow for people to use niche mods like Intruder. I think the mod system should have been overhauled alongside Damage 2.0. I think we do need a mod overhaul, and maybe some of the drain that certain stats and the certain buffs certain mods give need to be adjusted. My favorite example for this is the grey uncommon status mods for weapons. They were released at the start of Damage 2.0 and their values were kept low, and they said they were going to raise them. They never did. But especially that we now got set mods and everything, I think an overhaul and a look over and just a few tweaks here and there would do good.
I agree.
I think you should make a point of addressing how Former/Potatoes will work in your new system. Potatoes could easily double the points per tree, but Former? That's a fair point. All the progression and money people put in Former, how would they work in the talent tree?
Yeah.
Customization seems a little lacking in weapons compared to frames. Can I only have one core, one barrel per gun? Can I upgrade my gun to allow multiple of each attachment?
So, one of the big things that this system was supposed to help was DE being able to predict where players would be, which is something that, Loz and I have recently commented on, where, with things like Rivens, DE can't tell the output of
the player, the player of a power at X point in time.
Yeah.
They can't tell.
And the idea of what this original poster had come up with was to help guide that, help shape that. So yeah, you can only have one core and one, name of the other thing?
Barrel.
Thank you. But it is what it is. And partly DE didn't go down this route because they wanted players to have the freedom of choice and building whatever they want.
Well, no, they kind of did a little bit. They made a trade-off. They kept their mod system, which does allow variation, and then they put in the kit gun system.
Yeah.
And also, they have, how many guns were there in 2013? How many did we have?
Barely.
A lot less.
Yeah, and my sense these days with over 300 weapons is that for the most part, if you want a gun that does a certain thing, there's a gun out there for it. And, maybe you're not able to get it exactly to do every single thing you want, but you can get pretty close and you can do it situationally. And they did acknowledge this to a degree, but from a logistical point of view, the idea of custom pieces to fit onto each gun and animations for, barrels and stuff, I think they would die.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be worth the development time just for the trade-off. I think it would be cool, but not worth the cost.
Out of interest, do you kick gun?
I own one.
You own one.
I own
Is it
one.
Catch Moon?
No, it's one I bought because I'm like, oh, I should get a kick gun.
Oh, okay.
And then I bought one, and I'm like, this is cool. I don't need another one.
Yep.
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep. The point of that comment was like, you know, are people realizing the insanity of like, oh look, all these cool customization of guns and barrels and you just have the one which is like the best of the lot. Everything else is just trash. Yeah, we have 300 pieces of junk.
I think unless like there's the gun meta. I mean, if I'm just playing because I just want to shoot things, I have my kit where I just aim in a general direction, everything dies. And I think it's fine to have meta like that. And I'm also glad that DE is trying to make other weapons viable and fun. I do think that maybe if there were other non-damage based effects or just fun things that they do, that like were things you could add on to guns. Like, what if you could make a gun that didn't really kill anything, but it ragdolled everything and it was just hilarious?
Yeah.
You know, being able to build something like that would be awesome. So I don't know. I don't know. I can see the point of having, you know, a lot of options to either make the gun of your dreams or make something completely ridiculous. But I don't know how much in the long term that would be a great payoff.
I'd say. I feel that would give a lot of life to a lot of weapons, more long-term life. But I'm worried there might be that people will come up with some clever way to abuse it, and then you're like, oh no, not again.
Yeah.
Next reply. However much as it's great for you to make such a well thought out system, I fear by now it's too late for this game. Your concept would have worked well if it would have replaced the mod system a few months after its introduction. But now it's in the game for so long, and the game has come out for PS4 as well. Oh, it's come out on the fabled PS4 that I doubt they are still capable of making such a massive change, especially with people who would complain about having wasted their money on the mod packs or on weapons, which are suddenly not totally overpowered. The auras are currently tied to the mod system, so of course, with something like your idea, they would need to get an overhaul as well. Yeah, so obviously, we ain't getting such change anymore with the system. Yeah, so this could never happen now.
I'm kind of happy this sort of thing never happened.
I'm happy that it didn't, but at the same time, you could say that maybe this is where focus came from, and this is where kick guns came from.
Yep.
It reminds me a bit of development of other software where they know better than to take things away. Like it I don't know if you guys have ever used Flash back when it was owned by Macromedia?
No. I'm aware of
anyway. Flash clunky program, but did some interesting things, and but as they developed it, they would, you know, streamline things, and they would take certain things away, which sort of made sense, but it meant that all your old stuff wouldn't work, and you couldn't work in the same way that you used to. And it was very frustrating. On the other hand, a piece of software like 3D Studio Max has pretty much every single tool in there since it was first made back in God knows when. And it is a bloated, incomprehensible, you know, tool that it takes more time to learn than to use.
Right.
And they both, you know, on the one hand, for, let's say Flash was still alive, it makes it easier for people to get into it and to learn it and to use the tools because it's been developed and streamlined, but it can't do everything. Whereas with 3D Studio Max, you have something that people have been using since, you know, for 20, 30 years, not that long, but a long time. And they have a way of working. And if you take away the systems that they rely on to do things, it's impossible to use, or in the case of games, it's not fun. That happened to me with one of the reasons I stopped raiding in WoW was because I played a hunter. Sorry. And they every single expansion, they would change how hunters work. And after Cataclysm, I was like, this isn't fun. This isn't how I want to play this game. And if I'm going to raid, I have to play this new way that I don't enjoy, and so I'm just not going to bother. So I think that a lot of games, I mean, I think that Warframe, by choosing the idea of let's just keep adding stuff, someone had a good idea for this. Well, we can't apply it to that, but we can apply it to this new thing because that might be fun to have in the game. It makes it clunky and it makes it chaotic, but it also allows for people to keep playing the way they want to play, which I think is really important.
I agree. As one of those weird developer monkeys, sometimes what you have to do is face facts and start again, and just like push it off the edge of a cliff. You go, oh look, here it is, brand spanking new, with bells and whistles, and none of the bloated crap. Well, this is one of the things that I was really happy with, the fact that they turned around and said, like, yeah, we're reinvigorating the engine. They're doing a new version of the engine. I was just like, good. World of Warcraft could really fucking do with that.
At some point, you might want to go just scrap everything and start again.
Well, they did that with the raids.
Well, we
said, these aren't working, and we're gonna, ostensibly work on new ones, but for now we just need to take this out because it's a huge mess.
Yeah,
and people were very upset, and I understand that. But as they explained, a lot of it was not that, oh, this clunky thing is in the game. Ew, it's that the back end complaints and bug fixes were a waste of time and money.
Yeah. And so okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be the whole engine or the whole game, but certainly features and things can be like sacked off and stuff.
Yeah.
If they turn around and went, Xeno, we're getting rid of Arcwing, I would be very, very sad. But they'd have to have they must have a justifiable reason to do it. Otherwise, why would they? Yeah. Unlike other companies that are just like, honestly, I've worked on a project where the scope creep is so insane that it's just like, okay.
Having flashbacks, yeah. No.
Well, not necessarily flashbacks. So Google is really good at crawling websites. Yes, I work on websites. And the customer turned around and was like, oh, we want you to install this piece of software that allows Google to read it better. We don't need to do this. No, we need to do this. No, we really don't need to do this. Of course, we've done this, and guess what's happened? Google can't read it at all.
Any engineer will have these stories. It's a nightmare, and unfortunately, it's because. And again, this is the reason why I think that Warframe works so well, because marketing follows development. Development is in the lead.
Yeah.
And that means that decisions like that aren't made by suits who don't understand what their users are doing.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But Loz loves these stories. It allows him to get sleep.
It's time
welcome.
for Xeno's story about computing. Time for nap.
Okay.
Next reply.
Yep.
I think Warframe's biggest problems with the mod system is that some mods are underwhelming, either because they amount to virtually nothing, plus status percentage. Yeah, those are horrific mods. They're still in the game and haven't changed even since this post. Or are horrifically situational and often underwhelming anyway, like Undying Will in most cases. While some mods are detrimentally mandatory towards gameplay, see Surreal, etc., there's some fat that needs to be culled, and of course, some real consideration towards the impact 2.0 damage and mods makes on mods choices.
That's still true.
Yep. I would definitely say, and I think the solution so far has just been to chuck more mods at the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and you've got these sets now. Put more set mods in. They're not ready to go. Hang on a minute. Let's have an overhaul. What do we expect a player to have at X point, X, Y, Z, and what should it give? Those status mods, if you look them up, are awful.
I gotta be honest. I did not like the backlash that DE got for damage 2.5.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, you want more scaling difficulty in things. We need to gimp the damage. No take, only give.
Only give. Make better, but not better in way I'm not scared of.
And that's the balancing act. Is like I was saying, do you just keep piling stuff on and not take stuff away, or if you take it away, do so thoughtfully. And I think you're right that they usually get an unfair amount of backlash based on decisions they probably did actually have to think a lot about, and they're not given the benefit of the doubt that like they knew there was gonna be some backlash, but maybe this is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Make game more difficult, but make Tigress Prime still one-shot things.
It reminds me of the dog meme. Is like, is it like please throw ball?
Throw.
No take.
Give me the ball.
Only throw.
No take. Only throw.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yep.
No take, only throw. Okay.
You know that one, surely.
Yes, yeah, I remember it now. Yeah. Right, next one. Where are we at to? Currently, most of the mods are bottom line useless, and people wouldn't even bother to use them due to limited space. So why create useless mods? Recreate another stronger mods to replace the useless mods again and again. Very bad. I think this is even before we had Excel slots. This
it is
feature.
Totally is.
So we do make use of those mods a lot more now.
It is pretty funny though to think that they went and actually made literally useless mods.
Yep.
The peculiar mods.
Oh.
Just
Oh no.
Coat.
No. Speed holster. Like, how long was that? Like,
I like speed holster.
No. But for how long was it the least used mod? Because it only gave you 3 ranks of capacity.
Oh yeah, it was an aura mod, but there was like, okay, this is a bit of a niche aura mod, not something that most people will use. Let's also not only have its effect be kind of niche, we'll give it the least aura addition that any aura mods have, or there was a few of them like that, so that it's also fighting against better statted mods that are giving more capacity. Like, what?
But yeah,
that makes sense.
Hey guys, do you think there would be any negative ramifications if we decide to actually give one of the aura mods an additional 5 ranks of capacity? No, it seems perfectly legit. I think we're good. Let's do that. Yeah. Oh fuck.
That was a steel charge. That was ridiculous.
Yep.
Mm.
And the introduction of the legendary cores.
A lot of these changes cannot likely make it in. I'd love them to, but removing the mods and the like would result in them losing money. People wouldn't buy a high platinum packs for the mods. People wouldn't buy mod packs or core packs or the like trading. A system they worked hard to get in would be removed for a while, most likely, and so on. Did I miss one about someone said he quit? Yeah, maybe not. Right, and last one. I'll get through this. Take a look at the core of your system. Your proposal is the mod system, just with a different skin, and you don't have to find the mods. The difference is instead of a single pool where players can freely change between types of your idea limits the point. Between types, your idea limits the points of the system, powers and utility having each their own totals. Thusly, more inherent limitations to how players can build, and is not actually more freedom, as you can't spend more utility points for less systems or powers, or any other combination if you so wish it. The mod system is quite capable of doing everything you suggest and more, with the correct implementation and choices for mods.
So, but the problem here is the post wasn't trying to address freedom of choice. It was trying to address lack of challenge. Yeah. So by limiting choice. So I think this person has kind of missed the beat on that one.
Do you want to have a card for this one?
I've been asking cards. So the cards we've actually asked are... so first off, operator only Nightwave task, yes, no. Should there be a limit? So should there be an ability to limit yourself to play with newbies? And the last one was, how often do you change your builds? Because I'm interested, like, you know, how often do you guys change your builds? Because when my build is set, that's it. It's set.
Same. Pretty much same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly set. If I need to change a build for a situation, I just have a second loadout that I never use because I forget to change it to it.
Yeah. I think the only Warframe that I have multiple loadouts really for is Nova, to do either a slow Nova or a speed Nova, and that's it.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, I have 2 Ivara builds. One is for sneaking and one is for Eidolons.
Eidolons?
Mm-hmm.
would you do with Avara and Eidolons?
Kill them.
Kill them. Yeah, damage DPS.
Wow.
And I stay under. If you stay under the cloak arrow, none of the AO or the launched AOE stuff can't target you.
Oh,
'cause
really?
Seeks, isn't it? Yeah, it's a secret
Yeah.
line, isn't it?
I didn't know
And
that.
then I put on like sniper aura buffs and snipe away.
Do you use the Opticore?
No, I'm too far away.
Snipers are better.
I'm sorry, the Opticore, not yet because I don't have a great build for it because my brother keeps getting all of the great ribbon for Opticore, so his is amazing, but mine is shit. So
I'll see if I have an Opticore ribbon and spend some of my millions of Hoover on it.
you should do it because he got a second drop when I was like at his place watching him play, and I was really mad. Yeah.
Right, okay. So, let's go on to the second topic.
Cool. I'm just gonna go splash water on my face. Keep myself.
Are you really tired?
You're so
I'm
tired.
I'm afraid. I'm so tired.
Obviously, it's the stories about programming. Yeah.
Go out. It's about programming and Google not being able to do things clearly. No, I'm just a bit tired at the moment. It's fine, but I can still hear you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
He has technology. It's allowing him to...
You're not tethered to your computer. That's
Loz,
incredible.
mute your mic. Yeah.
But why?
Well, in case you decide to do something else, and the audio...
Singing? Of course.
Yeah. There you go. So mute his mic. Right, so let's move on to topic number 2. Right. While out in... So, open world void fissures. While out in PoE, or Orb Valis, a void fissure has a random chance of appearing. Does it? Relic era depends on the session level, i.e. bounty level. From the fissures come a flood of corrupted enemies, and rush towards it are hordes of Grenier or Corpus. If normal enemies get too close to the fissures, they might become corrupted. The corrupted enemies drop reactant, as in the normal fissure missions, but since there's no prep period, players choose which relic to open after they collect enough reactant. Once a minimum of 10 total reactant has dropped, a timer of 30 seconds starts to count down. Since there's enough for everybody to gather, this is to prevent someone stalling the relic opening. Upon closure, the fissure won't return until the session resets. Just thought this might be a good alternative to normal fissure missions. There's not always an endless mission available, and most of the time you just end up running behind the Sarin main with an Ignis Wraith. So Shad, how often do you do fissures?
Quite frequently, actually.
Cool.
The reason being that I like to play on public, because when I play, I'm usually half dead and don't feel like having to think, and I like being carried.
Yep.
So, and I actually just don't like playing alone.
Yep.
It's scary. So I run them very frequently, and I do agree that mostly I prefer the endless style missions, and when there isn't one available, that's kind of a bummer. That said, I'm willing to wait, and just do something else for a little while. As for having them appear on one of the open worlds, I mean, I don't see why not, but I think it's addressing a problem that I don't personally have, so I may not be the best authority on this.
Loz, how often do you do fissure missions?
Quite a bit. They come up on Nightwave quite a lot, and occasionally I just have to do it for stuff for Barrow or just something to do, leveling something. It's always a good thing to do.
What is your preference in type of fissure mission?
Non-endless.
Non-endless?
I know capture is the best and easy and you can just fly through it, but I don't mind doing an exterminate. I don't mind doing rescues. They're all fine really. But it's just when it's like, go do defense, now do 10 waves, you're like, this is just pain. How much pain?
because I've got to admit, like,
Or 5 waves even, just so painful.
I'm very much I prefer to spam captures than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, you could just sit in defense, and it's every 5 waves, isn't it? You could be unlocking multiple relics, but it feels better to just do capture than to sit in one endless mission.
It depends. Like, I don't like defenses for the void rifts. They take too long, and I prefer to move around. So I really just do survival.
Yeah.
Or excavation.
Excavation.
But survival is my favorite because, again, if I'm standing in the same place, I'm not having fun. So I'm wondering, like, I mean, yes, you could be more efficient if you are doing captures. But I guess with survival, I'm not doing time efficiency so much as thought efficiency. I just want to sit around and shoot stuff and get ribbon or get the artifacts unlocked.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of different viewpoints on this. One such viewpoint a friend has is they hate going in and out of missions. They'd rather just sit in a mission and get somewhere. And I can, again, appreciate that. Some of the problems I have with the endless missions is more the fact that it doesn't recognize you've picked up a relic. It's like, but no, I chose a relic. Why are you saying I didn't equip one? Or sometimes it registers that you haven't picked up 10 void traces when you actually have.
Sounds like a client communication issue.
Yeah, and I've never had that when it is a quick mission. When it's like a non-endless mission. Do a capture or because choosing the relic, you only ever do that outside of the mission. And yeah, I've just never had any of the issues. So that's one of the reasons why I prefer it. Plus, it is shit tons faster.
That's an interesting point. That is a problem they should see if they can address.
I think part of the problem is it's just like, lag and things like that. And you can't, force two people to like, no, you two live next to each other now. Now you play. It just doesn't work out that way.
Will have to be maybe just like, I don't know, some other prompt to if you haven't equipped a ribbon, just like, are you sure? You didn't. Well, something like mid time, they could check to see if you have a ribbon equipped.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one.
So I'll be honest, I am not for fissures out in the open world.
Now, actually that's an issue. I kind of like the idea because it would be an activatable event. You could completely skip it, but it would be nice to have them out on the open world, and you could place them in the areas, as we've talked in the past, that don't get a lot of traffic. So, for instance, the north and the northeast and the south of the palace.
Yeah.
Those areas where there's some nice, cool areas, but you never have a gunfight there because what's the mission system called? I forget.
Bounties.
Right. The bounties always lead you to the same point over and over and over again because a lot of them are pre-scripted. A lot of them are like trap the tank orb wheel tank thing. It's like, okay, yeah, put a trap down, do it there. And because it's scripted, you're always fighting the same points. Even if you go to some of the outerway bases and start getting your bounties there, it will still just lead you back to the same places. And it's just like, it's just this lovely map with all these extra features, but the game is set up with so few areas to actually lead you towards in fighting that other areas don't get a look in. And I think would be an easy way for them to put things that spawn in those areas you can ignore. You can just be like, oh, there's a rift spawning there. Leave it be. Or you go up to it and then you click on it and you do the event. Now, I'm not sure about the relics afterwards things. That's nitpicking, but I'm not sure if it would be better that way because if you're not picking the relic first, you're not risking anything. I know you normally don't lose a relic, but it's just a sort of risky sort of thing. But
I think it'd be fun just to have a flood of enemies to.
Yeah, I like the concept as well. It's again just a flood of enemies. I just charging you. You kind of got two sides. You've got to try and keep apart. I think it's a bit of an interesting fact on there, and that there could be maybe as a basic of a game mode. That's a pretty good idea, and then maybe build on it from there. You could have different variations. One where you have to defend, maybe one where you have to defend a scientist who walks up near the rift and then starts analyzing it. Maybe one where you have to you have to let so much through and for so long, or not kill. So it's more of a survive within an area.
So control and manage.
Control and manage
skill.
the enemies, rather than that. So CC has an advantage. You could vary them. So I think there's an option there too, and because it would be unlike a bounty, which has to be part of a linked chain, because these would be one-off events, a bit like what were they called on the plains?
Oh, incursions.
Incursions, yeah, which was nice, but they were rather limited. It would be more variation on that, and more variation in gameplay and enemies would be kind of cool. And it would encourage longer sessions on the Valis while you're doing something else. You're like, hey, let's just finish this set of bounties, and then let's go do a rift spawn. Why not? While we're here, we'll just do that. See what we get. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be interesting.
So,
I like that, yeah.
So the way you've expanded it, it does interest me. But I do know plenty of people that actually, I know of a few that cannot even go to Orb Valis. They can't actually do arbitrations because they are unable to finish the Orb Valis, and as a result, they can't even get aura formers from arbitrations. They have no access to arbitrations.
Well, they're in the shop now anyway.
Yes, they fucking are.
It's just I farmed them for so long.
I farmed one. It took me like 70 hours to get one, and then they're in the bloody intermission Nightwave, and then they're in the fucking shop, and they're in the fucking Gift of the Lotus, and like 70 fucking hours.
Early adoption has its drawbacks.
We're looking to put things into the game that encourage repeat playing of game modes. And then later we'll just put them in the market so that you won't have to play the game mode.
But I mean, they do that with Prime or with, Prime packages anyway, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I do like this idea. I am concerned about players, like if there is a slew of enemies that are pouring out of a rift, or Grineer and Corpus are reacting, sending legions to fight back or whatever. How many people's players, PCs or games consoles would actually cope with the amount of enemies on the screen?
That's true, but sadly, there's people who say you can't finish the Valet. This is the thing with games as a service, and they have to keep progressing. Graphics have to keep getting updated. Eventually, some people won't be able, unless they upgrade their tech, they won't be able to progress. And that's a sad to be, but normally this is over many years, and to be honest, DE's been pretty good about keeping old computers and older specs still available. I think at some point, it just has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can still play the game. You may not be able to access all the parts, but you can still play the stuff you could play before. I think that's more than a lot of games will give you.
Actually,
unless it'll give you time to save up and upgrade your tech or whatever to catch up.
Actually, well, I mean, some people don't have that option and thing. Some people have.
Well, that's what I mean. They get given the time to do it. They were not. I assume they're not going to be stuck with the same computer for the next 15 years. And if they are, then to be honest, they shouldn't be expected that games still allow for them to play with their 10, 12-year-old tech.
So one question I have for you is: people can't play on Plains of Eidolon, right? Because their computer, their laptop, whatever, can't handle it, right? How would you feel if DE were to introduce an element to, say, the new war that is on the plains, and then players cannot finish the new war quest line?
That would be bad planning.
That would be bad planning.
So
what they'll probably do is it'll, instead of loading the whole plains, it'll load down a scaled, reduced, hidden ball part of it. So at some point,
you know what I mean.
I can appreciate the point you're trying to get at, but at the same time, I just feel that it depends. If that's the game does need to evolve, the game does need to move forward if it wants to survive, and that's more important. Which is more important, keeping the game alive or keeping a very small minority of players who maybe can't or refusing to upgrade their technology? And again, consoles will always be able to finish it, so the console players will always be keeping up with the things. So it's none of that. It's just PCs and some of the older PCs. I think at some point it depends on how long it takes and if the make people aware of it, and they're pretty good on that already. If I'm just going to sit here and I hear that they're dropping this DirectX and this is going to be unsupported, and then I go, I can't play the part of the game, even though I've been playing it for 6 years on the same machine that I haven't upgraded and was not good specs to start with, you don't get much sympathy from me, I'm afraid.
Well, that's also the difference between, is it something like adding an existing element like the void rifts to, an area that maybe you can't access as well? It's like, well, if you can still unlock relics, you can do it the old way. Versus, as you say, something related to the new war that, requires you to go on the plains. I think that would be a poor decision for a progression and story-based stuff to require an element that not everyone can access. But again, that's also as Loz says, that's at a point, you shit happens. Like, games progress, technology progresses, and if you can't get it, like it seems it may be unfair to you personally, but in the grand scheme of things, they've been as fair as they possibly could be while still, running a business.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the card, would you like to see void fissures in open worlds? And then I think, unless either of you have anything you want to add, we should move on to the replies.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Okay then. Go for it, Loz.
I'd love it, especially if further waves get the normal endless fissure bonuses. Now, I think the initial thing said that you would run a fissure, and then after that you'd have to reset the entire map before you get another fissure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about endless. I think this should not be people on the plains just sitting there doing fissures. It should be a fissure spawned. We did a fissure. Right, we can now go back to doing the bounties. It's a bit of variation. Or you can go do K-Drive races for a bit. Or, so you're encouraged to be on the plains for these things to pop up. But it facilitates the Valis. It doesn't dominate the Valis. We're just going to endlessly do fissure missions.
What? Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to the open worlds actually getting some form of life put into them, especially how you've described where, hey, look, you're going to parts of Alt Valis that you've never been to before!
Or you looked at and went, oh, that looks like a cool area. We'd love to fight over there. Now let's return to the enrichment labs, where we will spend the entire hour killing endless things.
Another thing that I'm not opposed to is something like a beacon, where it can be used to summon a rift, and it can only be used in like Orb Valis or the plains, and maybe there's a cooldown, so when one person uses one, it can't be used again for like 10 minutes.
I like that.
That could work, definitely. The next reply: alas, I'm pretty sure the relic mission generator is balanced against it. I've noticed the endless missions tend towards Acti and away from Lith. This wouldn't be endless. I don't think this should be endless. I think it should be one-off things. I'm going to go on that. Next one. You forgot the backup memming whip. You forgot the backup memming whip. If there is a frame stereotype out there, it is the cheese, Sarin, and Iros. Oftentimes, even the Maces have more varied weapon choices than Sarins.
Oh.
Last reply: love it. This would add something to do in the plains and Valis that is different than basic bitch bounties and boss fights. Makes sense laws-wise too, as unvaulted relics are in the drop tables for both locations. Yeah, I think that it also makes sense. It's a bit odd that portals don't seem to spawn in these locations, but spawn elsewhere in the solar system. So yeah, but that's it for the replies.
Can the Stalker spawn these locations yet? Without Reb doing it?
No.
Right, okay, so that's it for the replies. And now it's time to move on to the memes. So Shad, Loz has just sent you some memes for this episode.
Should I click on them?
Yeah, click on them. Go ahead. And are you ready, Loz?
Yeah.
Okay. The first one.
First one. Right, so there you go. We got me and Fred review and just though, I'll say this again. These are just 6 memes. I really just stick myself to 6, so it's not too many, from the r/meme frame, and it's good. Check out if you want a bit of a laugh during the day. Look at meme frame Reddit. Some good stuff on this. The first one, the community right now. DE, thank you for the update, but it's broke a lot of stuff. Here's a list of what we. Shazwin.
It's actually Shawzin. I keep on pronouncing it Shazwin, but it's apparently it's the Shawzin.
This is the dog from Up, and it's getting distracted by, I think it was Ball in the...
No, Squirrel.
Squirrel. That was it, yeah. Squirrel. So, but instead, Shawzin. So that's pretty... It's a nice little name there.
It's pretty legit.
Yep.
That's good. Second one. Maybe I'll be able to get... And there goes my Octavia part. Me playing on Derelict Survival solo. Extracting now that it is getting very hard to stay alive. Go and getting the Ironton star that is over 500 meters away with 10% life support and 0 revives with ancients everywhere. I remember these days. Originally, it wasn't quite that with Derek's Fire, but there was times I would die in normal missions, early Warframe days, and it was this scary feeling where you had 4 revives per day, not per frame back then.
Yep.
And it was like, oh.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not the reason I didn't like to play alone.
Yes.
Third one.
Right, next meme we have a Thanos meme, which you haven't seen in ages. Thank you, Riven. Very cool. Tombfinger Manti Ajidada. Plus 27.1 damage to Corpus. Plus 27.1 damage to Grenier. Plus 27.1 damage to Infested. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Jeez.
That roll is ridiculous. It really is.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's still a bad Riven, but ignoring that.
I think it is a bad Riven, but it needs to never be re-rolled because it is perfect.
That's incredible.
I don't think it's actually been re-rolled.
No, I assume that's what it is. This is the first time it popped up, and they're like...
It might be in the bottom right-hand corner. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway. Number 4.
So now on to meme number 4. Inspired by, apparently, user Coolest Chaos comment. I had to look this up because I did not believe the helmet was called Mag, and I'm like, they wouldn't have done that, and they did. So you have the Mag Gorse helmet and the Gorse Mag helmet.
Yeah,
probably my favorite update joke.
Yeah,
yes,
because it's real.
It is insanely hilarious. I don't know if they intended it, but it is.
Oh no, they did. They had to have,
did.
because people were asking that question when Goss's name was announced.
Right. But okay.
Perfect.
Again, perfectly balanced. Right now, number 3, Shudders.
Wait,
I fear no man.
Which one? On 5.
On 5, yeah.
Okay.
I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me. Brilliantly done there. Yep. Gauss does not like corners.
Yep.
There's quite a few cornering jokes, but I went with this one. Right, and now the final meme. When Mom catches you looking at the dev build.
Oh, that was awesome.
The arms folded thing is hilarious. And just the look on her face. Not quite angry, but you could interpret that like...
A little
just
disappointed.
Steve's face. Yeah. And just Steve's face. You can just be like, quick, Alt F4, minimize. Yeah. Brilliant, that one. Brilliant.
That's good.
There we go. Those are the 6 memes of the week. So now we'll go on to the community
meme frame.
Yep.
The meme frame Reddit. Very, very good, hardworking people farming those memes for us to enjoy. Right, and now we're going to go to Xeno's carefully curated community shoutouts of the week.
Yep.
I'll just paste there. I saw the bottom one says Excalibur Gundam, and I have not clicked on it. I saw it, but no, I saw it at the start.
Clicking
but I did
now.
not click on it. I'm saving it for the end here.
Okay, good.
Okay, so let's click the first one.
I was trying to keep it a surprise. Didn't think that putting the name in it would actually freaking give it away. Anyway, so this is the first one is a quick sketch by Ion Height, which just looks amazing. I think it needs more arms.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yep.
That is cool. What did they say in the description? Very quick searches while I'm away from the tablet to make quality. Haha, joking. To me, I'd love this as sort of like a sentient sort of I say mid boss or whatever, but like or boss that teleports into the sentience and it talks at you and moans at you, but you never actually directly fight it. Maybe till a boss fight, but it's just degrading you the whole time, just at the back. I could just the way it's sort of the arms holding it up, but it's sort of just hovering there, kind of overbearing. Oh, it just looks awesome. That is.
I like it a lot. The only thing I wish that the hands were not this like normal hand proportions. I wish they were more like freaky.
Yeah,
that would be good. Yeah. Maybe with more or less fingers on some of the hands as well.
Yeah.
Obviously symmetrical, but like, what if the outer hands had like 6 fingers?
Look, he's got like a broken horn. On one side, I like that. He's clearly seen some shit.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Our second community shout out is this Valkyr by Mizurio.
Mizuiroi.
Like that.
Mizuiroi.
Yeah, just like that.
Nice cell shading.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Good line work, too.
That's why it's good that we have the people on that can say good things about the artwork instead of us. Nice picture.
I like it. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
It's very strong line work. And I love the thick thighs. Valkyr deserves thick thighs.
The third
We're
one.
not allowed to say that kind of thing. Trouble.
The third one are these two lovely cavats by Little Fernanda, which I actually really like this one. So the actual description on the tweet, it basically names the actual cavats and things, but I just love the facial expressions. I love the poses, and the hat. Can we please?
A very good hat.
Yeah, can we please have hats like that for our cavats in game, rather than you want a hat? Cover whole head. No. Just want a hat. Like
the hat won't stay on.
Put a lampshade on hat.
You have to be realistic.
We're talking about fish cats.
Yeah. They literally are just like, yes, you want a hat for this. Here's a lampshade. Slam. Yeah. That's what it is, isn't it?
Have you tried putting a real lampshade on a real cat?
Yes.
No, but I have had a cat put a real lampshade on itself.
They do that.
Yeah, they do that.
I love this a lot. And I just love the idea of them like sitting, listening to Nora.
Yep.
And understanding and probably plotting something.
And the true
inappropriate.
The true use of floofs. Cat toys.
God, it'd be really man. You know what they should make the Kavats do? Now that you can play with the beach balls. Is you should definitely have them start to knock over noggles. Reb's ship would be a nightmare.
Yes. It'd probably break the engine.
Ruin your decorations.
Oh man.
Right.
So good.
Moving on, the fourth community shout out is this gorgeous mag by Villain.
Ooh. I really like that.
That is how you spell villain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It always confuses me.
Villain.
Yeah. But
I like the use of spot colors.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of rendering styles where it's really loose in areas and then they tighten up the details in key points.
Yep.
That's because I'm not very good at it, so of course I admire it. I think this is...
We
really
admire it for
nice.
that exact same reason.
Yes, I concur. Do you concur, Xeno? I can speak. This is a very good description. Yes, definitely those amazing points you just listed.
Not because all we can do is stick
also
men.
really
but,
pretty.
yeah.
It's also very pretty.
It is indeed of a high prettiness factor. I concur.
You can also wear it as a hat. Sorry. Right. Moving on to the fifth community shout out, which was "It was me, Vor" by. Do you know how to pronounce this name? No one knows how to pronounce this name. Huh?
Alaste?
No, the Zafir.
Oh, the Zexper.
Yeah, it's like, why'd you have 4 consonants in a row? Oh, god damn it, you're right, it's so good. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Just go with the @halaste. That's a lot easier.
There you
Yeah, that is hilarious. Very, very good cell shading.
Yep.
JoJo reference always wins.
Yep. JoJo's. Right. Then the sixth community shout out is this gorgeous stalker by Mia Muli. Mia Muli, yeah. Absolutely gorgeous.
Look at that whole thing.
Yep. Loz is in awe. Like,
that's lovely.
Loz is like, I like the use of the red.
Here's the thing, as a Warframe fan artist, hey, Warframes, really hard to draw. Like, straight up, they're super duper hard to draw. I don't know how people do Warframe fan art. There's just all Warframes. I just draw like operators and cats because it's way easier. I would like to be better at Warframes, but the fact that people just knock this stuff out is incredibly impressive regardless. So, yeah. That's good. They did a good job.
It is very good. I actually like that as a Lisette poster. That'd be really good.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Put it like right behind the doorway.
Open doorway, there's Stalker. Oh, crap.
Like those cardboard stand-ups from bookstores.
Yep. All right, and then the 7th community shout-out is Popsicles by Taff. I think Loz is trying to get it.
I don't get it.
Because, okay, joke is, it's red. So Saren's like, oh, it must be cherry. And Frost is like, we love fruit. And Garda's like, I shouldn't tell them, it's probably blood. Hey, fun fact.
Joke.
They, was it, I think with, was it tigers or something? They will freeze a bunch of blood and make a blood ice popsicle for them to lick when it's hot.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know this. Tigers
Good way to help
are
keep
vampires.
them cool. In a way.
Right.
But in a way, aren't we all?
No. But tigers are cool, so they're allowed. So, yep. And then our last community shout out is Excalibur Gundam by Chicken Nagato? No. Nagato.
Chicken Nuggetto.
Yeah. This is just for you, Loz.
I wouldn't really say it is quite Gundam.
How is it not?
Some of the structures, joints, the exposed joints on the legs, the hip armor.
It's a mobile suit.
It is a mobile suit,
for sure.
It's more. I would say it's more Xeon than a Gundam. More Zaku, I'd say. The head is though. Yeah, I can give you the head, but then it's more of a GM head than a Gundam head. It's just Yeah,
you have to understand that a Gundam is a very specific type of mobile suit.
Indeed.
And design-wise, it has some very specific features that make it, a Gundam.
It's because it doesn't have a loincloth,
Who
isn't
doesn't
it?
get this? Doesn't appreciate some of the features.
It's not a loincloth. It's a crotch cover.
Yeah, loincloth.
No, but it's rigid.
But it's fine. Crotch cover then. Right? But
Like, there are some bits which are really good. I love the bit around the neck and the sort of V-shaped chest. That's pretty good.
But like the arms, the legs, the knees, like
The left
they
arm
all
that you
scream
can
to be
see is all
Gundam.
right. That shoulder needs to be bigger. But the joints are too exposed. I mean, okay,
no,
maybe
but
you
like
could say
even Exia has
bloody-
shoulders that small. Pretty sure Exia has shoulders. that small.
What it needs is more it needs
Try
more
again.
angular parts. Like it's I would say all of the joints and the parts are very balanced on one side to
Right.
another. So it makes it rounder and it makes it closer to the actual, Excalibur shape of, more humanoid. I think if they exaggerated different parts of it and like made, the wrists smaller than the forearms, that would be more in line with the Gundam design style. But as far as like a piece of rendering that shows all the cool robot parts, it's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm tempted. One thing I have several books on it, and be able to just sketch just mechs. I'm not a good artist, but I love mech because I just love mech design. But see, yeah, it is
wow,
so cool.
it's so wrong on X's shoulders.
Yeah. I mean, the shoulders are bigger than the head. I mean, and that's what you haven't got that.
Because one thing about Gundam specifically design-wise is that they're inspired by, samurai armor. So you have the helmet and the headdress, and you have the shoulder pauldrons and the chest armor, and the arm wrist guards, and so all the parts that are exaggerated in that way, that's what makes it a Gundam versus a mobile suit, which is more based on just a humanoid robot form, and that's really what spells the difference.
I have been schooled.
But still, I mean, to be honest, to me, it feels very much more like this Excalibur feels more like a mass-produced model. Like, you could see rows of these. It just doesn't scream uniqueness just from this one. But there we go. At the same time, this is such a lovely piece of artwork. I'd love that framed on my wall.
Yeah, it's just semantics at this point.
Yeah.
Now, what if they took Excalibur Prime and made it look like the Gundam?
Have a head, would he?
Oh, don't.
Have a head! He wouldn't have a head!
Okay, so for Shad, for your benefit, in case you're...
Please help me, what's happening?
Right, okay. So before PBR treatment for Excalibur Prime, Excalibur had 2 colors that was dedicated to the soft grey. And if you click
default, there was a hidden patterning that wasn't present on the default that you could change it. So if you put like one as blue, one as red, you would then see the hidden patterning that was actually there. But if you defaulted it was grey,
and it went across the front of his face.
We had to lose a color channel to have the gold be tintable, so we had to lose something. And so you're going to lose some of that hidden patterning. And they kept trying to fix it, but they wouldn't listen, and they still didn't fix it. And in the end, they just took away parts of it, which include on the face, there was a lovely strip that went down the middle like a stripe. So you could have that be a different color. You can't have that anymore. That's disappeared. That channel and that patterning. And it just makes the whole face look really dull and flat. And they could have given us another helmet to have one with one option and one with the other, but they didn't.
That's unfortunate.
Mesa can have 2 helmets. Mesa can have 2 helmets.
Sucks to have Excalibur Prime, I guess.
Yeah, Loz. So that's it for the community shoutouts. Oh God, Loz, it's your quote. Come back to us, Loz.
It is.
Come back to us.
Okay, here we go. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, Dunman. You want to go there? Let's go there. I commanded Grenier, and Grenier died. Podlings. 3 months old. The best Grenier I ever led. Do you think for a second I wouldn't trade places with them? I know you think I got my Grenier killed. They're dead. I'm here. Like the punchline to some bad joke. You think I like that? Do you think a minute goes by that those faces are right here, sit in my brain? Goresh, Eviscerator, 156509386. Gorath, Lancer, 876662354. Vey Malta, Trooper, 874273993. Your pod brother was an outstanding Lancer. He was my friend, and I miss him every day, and you remind me of him. I cut out a few names because there was more names. I just went for 3. There was more originally. It was 5.
So this is definitely a movie.
Yeah.
Do you know if I've seen this?
No, I don't know.
Okay, right. So
came out in 2011.
Okay, so at this point in time, we can ask questions to try and narrow it down and things like that. So it came out.
What happened in 2011?
Yeah, what the fuck did come out in 2011?
I went back to school in 2011.
It's set in the real world, but with sci-fi elements happening. The real world gets attacked by sci-fi. As in, the real Earth gets attacked by aliens.
Yeah.
We understood that, Loz.
This is definitely a movie I did not see.
It was kind of a meh movie. Like, it had a trailer, kind of a bit vague about what was going to happen. I thought, this trailer looks amazing. And the film was just kind of,
Oh. Is it Battlefield LA?
Yes, Battle Los Angeles.
Huh.
Yeah.
Forgot
Battle
that.
LA sounds like a Battlefield game. It's Battle Los Angeles, which I thought was some colons in the base. It's Battle Los Angeles. There we go.
Man,
Well
that
done.
passed right under my radar.
Yeah, it's kind of meh.
It's kind of
Yeah, it really missed.
All right.
Really missed a lot. But that's a. I mean, that was a powerful line for.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a
Yeah,
good
sure.
line. But I can't even remember that movie. I know I've seen it. I watched it with my dad, and I think we were both like, eh.
The setting was interesting and it was good. It just kind of needed something more to it. It was just kind of meh.
It was
like,
it was just eventful and like no real narrative. Like, oh, this
Stuff
happened.
happened.
Yeah, stuff happened.
And
you
then
kind
more
of-
stuff happened.
Yeah, you're following them like kind of almost shaky cam style, as like you follow these troops as they go into fighting these aliens, and then they kind of go over here and go here, and so you don't ever get to feel like the large scale of things. But at the same time, this one group of troopers basically save the day, and you're kind of like,
Wait, was it proper shaky cam style?
I don't think it was proper shaky cam, but it had some shots and things. It wasn't a live fan footage style thing. But it was a little bit of that for some of the explosions and things. It wasn't like there was a trooper holding the camera running around.
That's too bad because like I could see that. I mean, it's a great concept, and I love. It's like everything, all the elements that you're describing sound really great, and the fact that it just didn't work is really disappointing to hear.
Because that's the problem. Is it clearly wanted to be a shaky cam fan footage film, so it should have said small scale with just the troopers. But then later sections of the film want to have like your big sci-fi battle-y heroes ending kind of thing where they save the day.
You know what absolutely happened was that some asshole in marketing and media was like, we need to have, they love the big battles. The kids, they love the big battles. You got to have all the, we got this budget for all these explosions. We got to use it because that's what makes a blockbuster film, you guys.
And they got to save the day. They got to be amazing.
They got to be the heroes because we love our military.
And there's definitely a conversation, but it's an R film. It's R rated. It's like, no, it needs to be PG-13. You got to knock it down, make it PG-13.
They won't come if it's an R-rated film. We need more money.
I love that because basically all kids that are like 12 to 15 see the R rating. Go, well, I want to see that now. Whereas if you knock it down, they're like, oh, I guess so. But if it's like you're not allowed to see this, what do you mean I'm not allowed to see this? I want to see this.
It might also be some contract stuff with the different theater companies. And how many of these are able to show at a time. And
right.
Hey, entertainment industry, kind of shit.
Yep. Right. That's it for this episode. Shad, it's been absolutely lovely having you. Thank you very much for being on.
This was fun. Thank you.
And we will see you lovelies next week. I want to say same time, same channel, but Loz already did the
What if you
quote.
changed it?
Well, we did change the channel at one point, but it's unlikely to change again.
You never know.
That's it for this episode. Thank you very much for everyone, and we will see you next time. Where's the...
Bye.
Okay,
I hit the button.
Yeah, you hit the button.
It's still.
Thanks. That was super fun.
It's still actually recording a little bit.
See, look, that totally is Excalibur GM. That's a GM, a mass-produced Gundam. Totally is Excalibur GM. See, not a Gundam.